Sports Hub. I'm Joe Murray with you guys tonight until 10 o'clock. Full show. We're reacting to the Patriots. We're reacting to what happened yesterday. And we are reacting to the Patriots now 1-6 on the year and have lost 6 games in a row. And as you heard in the audio right there, the head coach of the New England Patriots called the team soft. I was on postgame yesterday with Leroy. Game ended. Went right over to us. We gave our opinion. Then all of a sudden we sent it over to the coach. And he said from an organizational standpoint, coaching staff, you name it, even the players, soft. I don't think we talked about the game really. I don't think we talked about, what could happen next or any of that. All we talked about was from the owner down to the coach speaking today. This guy, Robb Mayo, says the wrong thing consistently. But saying that your team is soft, oh boy. We're not even halfway through the NFL season. Not even through. Now, did he backtrack that today? Absolutely he did. He did. But when you call someone soft, especially a sports team, this is what happens when ownership doesn't do a job search. This is what happens. You don't do a job search. You just hired somebody because you felt it in your gut. The Robert Kraft saying that he does things based on his instincts, it's not working out for you, bro. It's not working out for you anymore. You hired Robb Mayo. He had a terrible offseason. Burned cash. I'll keep mentioning the orange juice that spilled constantly. But calling the team soft? When 3 weeks ago he called them tough? Then today walks back on his comment? We don't have a soft football team. We're playing soft, he said this morning. Robb Mayo's officially lost the locker room. Yeah, maybe mutiny a couple of weeks ago was too early. But come on now. Patriots veterans are calling out teammates in the locker room. Daniel Aquale, yesterday, Aquale says, I feel like a lot of guys think too highly of themselves and have to check their egos. Kendrick Bourne goes on to say personal decisions rather than staying up all night or eating or whatever. Oh, there's a shot. You had Godshaw earlier saying some guys are freelancing, doing whatever they want. Jalen Polk on social media gives you the peace sign, the deuces. And KJ Osborne wants to tell you that he was told he was inactive, then played, then scored a touchdown, and shared the conversation by text with his agent. They wanted to change the vibe, and guess what? You got yourself a soft team now. The defense, if you want to talk about the game, we can. I mean, we can at 617-779-0985. Is it worth talking about the game anymore? Is it worth us trying to give you breakdowns each week of how the Patriots can win the game? Because I'm tired of it. I'm tired of doing it. But they've quit on their coach. They have quit on their coach. And for the people who want to tell me, oh, Joe, look at you, already giving up on the team 7 weeks in? No. I'm the guy that told you months ago they were going to be the worst team in the NFL. And that's exactly what they are. Led by this guy that the ownership picked. So I'm not going to kill Robb Mayo because he's not a head coach. He's not a head coach. You just thinking the vibe would change things in there is laughable. This is on ownership. It's so easy to sit here and just blame ownership for everything. I can blame the offensive coordinator every week. I've been called an offensive coordinator hater. So at this point, who else do I go after besides the guy who said 5 years ago I picked him to run the team? Well, now he's running your team even further into the ground than the guy who did before. We'll get into that in a little bit. But if you want to talk about the game, the defense gave up 172 yards yesterday. And because you suck so bad, they ran the ball 18 times in a row and you couldn't stop it. And it ate up almost 16 minutes of game time. If you want Patriots defensive numbers through 7 games, this year they've given up 2,500 yards and 175 points. Last year, 2,100 yards, 177 points. And then in 2022, 2,400 yards and 146 points. The defense is getting worse. It's worse than it was last year. How about special teams? Remember how bad special teams was last year? Oh, another special teams touchdown. And just think about it. If we stick to the game, the Patriots had a 10-point lead to start the game. I've given you all the offensive numbers when it comes to Patricia, Bill O'Brien, and Van Pelt. When Patricia was here, they had 155 points through 7 games and 2,300 yards. Last year with Bill O'Brien, they had 101 points and 2,000 yards. This year, offensively, 99 points, 1,800 yards. It's getting worse. It's getting worse. The guy that is the coach of the team is incapable. Not his fault. Not his fault. The owner put him in this situation. He thought the vibe would be different. When you change the vibe, now you get a soft culture. You get the coach calling out people as being soft. Then he backtracks it, and now the players are upset about it. Oh, and it's Jets week this week, who are off how many losses in a row now? The get-right Patriots. We said that weeks ago, too. Everything we tell you on this show, fact. And we'll do it with the Celtics all year long, too. That will happen. Gerard Mayo can keep calling his teams and his players out. In the end, it's on him to seek improvement and make changes. He talked about it. He talked about making changes. What changes did you make, Mr. Mayo? They can continue to blame Bill Belichick all they want. Bill Belichick had nothing to do with the Patriots losing in London yesterday, 1-6, and the worst team in the league. Not to mention, had one of the best run defenses in football last year, but that's a story we'll save for later. Right now, I ask you, what is worse with the New England Patriots? The offense, the defense, the special teams, the coach, the offensive coordinator, the defensive coordinator, ownership, the GM. What's the worst right now? Because it changes every week. We're 7 weeks in. And we all think the Patriots have the quarterback at this point. It's the only hope. And we don't even know. We won't even be able to, give an analysis on this kid because he's not challenged. He puts up great numbers. Awesome. He looks good. I'm in. But when's he going to be in a situation to actually win games? That we won't know this year. They need a head coach. They need someone that can build around this kid. It's not what we're seeing right now. I've already started my head coaching search for next year. Robert Kraft's going to have to take ownership that he picked the wrong guy in Gerard Mayo. If he sticks with Gerard Mayo, the rebuild will take years. This isn't Bill going 5-11 in his first season and winning the Super Bowl next and go on to win 6 Super Bowls. There are about 4 or 5 players to build around on this roster. It's time to blow it up and bring someone in to build a program. They have no direction. It won't get better. Robert Kraft has to admit he made a mistake hiring Gerard Mayo because it's not working. It's not working. And for all the people that want to tell me, Joe, you're crazy, he won't fire somebody after 1 year, I'm telling you, he needs to do that to show that he screwed up. He needs to take ownership. Nobody wants to be the next guy. That's why Cam Newton was in. after Tom Brady. Gerard Mayo's the guy after Bill Belichick. They need a new guy next year. It's not Gerard Mayo. Robert Kraft needs to take ownership that he made a mistake and they need to find the next guy. It's not this guy. And if something changes over the next 10 weeks or so, I'll take the L. But I'm telling you right now, they might take L's the rest of the year. And we told you that at the beginning of the season. 617-779-0985. I'm Joe Murray. We're here until 10 o'clock tonight right here on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Don't go anywhere. There's more Joe Murray.
conditions is to make the playoffs. That's something. Realistically, we have a new leadership team. We're going to have a lot of young players. We don't know. A lot can happen. We might struggle more than I want.
All right, back here 98.5 The Sports Hub. I'm Joe Murray. If I could start things off with an in or out, because we'll do that tonight at 7:50. I'm out on the Gerard Mayo experiment. This has nothing to do with Gerard Mayo, and what I mean by nothing to do with it, the guy was a linebackers coach who probably got a lot of credit for how well the defense has been over the last couple of years. Maybe it was Steve Belichick. I watch Washington football. They have a pretty good defense. They're in a rebuild themselves. Maybe it was Bill Belichick. For the people that want to throw at me that there's no Christian Barmore, Juwan Bentley, or Peppers, you're right. But they also have some additions to the roster and guys that they re-signed. A lot of guys who were free agents. A lot of guys who maybe have those egos that some were talking about because they got extensions this year or signed long-term deals. But what you just heard from there was Robert Kraft at the owners' meeting. And, what he talked about was his hope was there. Can you believe this? Robert Kraft's hope was that they would make the playoffs this year with Gerard Mayo as the head coach. Is that laughable? This is what I'm trying to explain to people here. Robert Kraft has said that he makes a lot of his decisions based off like a gut decision, right? Or based off his feelings. A lot of his business decisions are his evaluations. And I think, and Scaz, maybe you can find the right wording for me, but he looked at it like how he chooses his wives. Gerard Mayo, nice guy. Bad. He's probably a great husband. I shouldn't say that about his personal life. Bad daddy for the Patriots. He's not a good dad to the Patriots. The wrong guy. So I forget what the quote was, Scaz, but Robert Kraft hired a guy with no experience to be the head coach of the New England Patriots, thinking that a vibe would change everything. He's not ready for it. Nothing is good. Every week it's something different. Then he calls the team soft. Oh, not good. So again, I'm out. I am out on Gerard Mayo as the head coach because he's not qualified to be. What did Kraft say? I don't even remember the quote.
In that clip, the playoff expectations?
Can you believe he said playoffs, by the way?
Playoffs?
Yeah, I know.
The only thing I would push, look, I'm with you. I think Gerard Mayo has been a borderline disaster. And I know that's strong because of, the roster is what it is, but the penalties, the end of half management, the end of game management, the in-game decision-making when it comes to, whether to try and score before the half or whether to, go for the two-point conversion or, kick the field goal and make it a one-score game. Things like that are tangible. Things like that are things you can look at and say, that was a mistake, and they're repeated mistakes. I think that's where the frustration really starts to set in, is because these are repeated mistakes. These are not things that are happening week one and we're now in week 6 and things seem to be, headed in the right direction. These are things that are happening over and over again. The only thing I'd push back on is the wasn't a head coach thing or, didn't have experience. There are plenty of guys, Harbaugh included with Baltimore, that were not head coaches. He was
Andy
like a
Reid.
Special teams assistant, when he got a head coach. So
and Andy Reid and Harbaugh are like the outliers, bro.
I get that, but I'm just trying to say that, it doesn't, just because he was that doesn't mean he was going to be a bad head coach. He's a bad head coach right now because he's a bad head coach.
Do you think that in the next 8 weeks, or 10 weeks, let's call it, he can get better?
I think he almost has to, Joe. I think Drake May will play better. That'll help Gerard Mayo look better, but It's the penalties for me. It's the defense. It's allowing just being run all up and down the field, nothing changing. We heard all week about the Patriots are going to make changes. The Patriots are going to make changes.
What change did they make?
That's what I was going to ask you, Joe. What did you you worked post game yesterday?
We did a whole week on this.
What changes did you see?
We were calling guys out for what maybe something they weren't even doing. I called Keon White out. I was calling all the guys out.
There was more Jermichael Hasty, I guess. Maybe was that one of the changes?
By the way, nice little cut to the inside. I thought on that catch he made like a nice.
When you're talking about your third running back in Week 6, your team sucks, and the Patriots suck right now.
I just want to finish off that Robert Kraft quote again. My hope and expectation was to make the playoffs this year. That's something realistically. We have a new leadership team, and we're going to have a lot of young players we don't know. A lot can happen. We might struggle more than I want. But the good news, when you're running a business, you try and figure out the key variables and what they are. And then try to put people in place that you think can react and adapt to what has to happen. I really feel we have a good young team. I just hope we don't struggle. The struggle's real, bro. You know why the struggle's real? This guy hired the wrong guy. Guys, this is it from now on. It's Robert Kraft who hired the wrong guy. He hired the wrong guy.
Hired him 5 years ago, too, Joe. Don't forget.
Found him 5 years.
Found him. This has been the guy. And just more on the Mayo point where he's not ready. Look at the guys on the roster. Look at their reactions to, not getting enough playing time or being played out of position or, whatever it is, whatever these guys are upset about. We have guys speaking out. We have guys posting on Instagram, Twitter stuff. It's just that is every sure sign of a dysfunctional organization. The Patriots are showing it. We used to laugh at these teams. The Jets, the Jaguars used to be one of these teams. Now the Jaguars are blowing you out, and your players are throwing temper tantrums on social media.
Can I add another one about bad teams? Bad teams fire their coaches after 1 year. Can we put that on a T-shirt too? So for everyone that wants to tell me, Joe, they're not going to fire Gerard Mayo after this year. Why? Because he doesn't want to lose the money? Why? Because he's never done it before? I mean, how many Revs coaches has he fired after 1 year? Joe, our intern back there. Right?
Well, that's another thing, too, to get into is if you really want to do the Kraft thing, look at the team they've owned for, since 97 or whatever it was, that they've been the sole owners of, and were not gifted Tom Brady. That team has never won anything. Mm-hmm. And they just are coming off a historically disappointing year in which they hired a new coach and told us things were going to be different with the Revs. And I know we're not going to do a ton of Revs talk,
let's just keep it consistent.
They own that team. They told us things were going to be different. They hired a new, younger guy because Bruce Arena, we're never going to get the Bruce Arena
we'll
story.
Never get the Bruce story.
But they at least looked like a competent franchise under Bruce Arena. And they go the young coach. Sounds pretty similar, right, Joe?
Yeah, everyone wants him fired, but they won't do it, right? They won't do it. This is where I'm going with it, Skaz. You need to take ownership that you hired the wrong guy. Stop telling me that they're not going to move on from Gerard Mayo. Bad teams fire coaches for being bad after 1 year. They're the bad team. I really have barely talked about what's happened on the field yesterday. 617-779-0985. I got Joe Math coming up in a little bit. Let's talk to Nick in Boston. Hi, Nick.
Hey, as you were talking, the expression occurred to me. There's an old expression, victory has 1,000 fathers, and victory is an orphan. The Kraft version of that is, victory has one father, Bob Kraft, and defeat has a million excuses. This guy hired Gerard Mayo because he wanted somebody he could control. He didn't let him pick his own coordinators. He didn't name Elliott Wolf general manager until after the draft. You have to be blind not to realize they're pulling the strings here. And when I heard Felger say a few minutes ago that he's afraid of Kraft, I almost fell off my chair because they've got their fingers into all the media here. They are the most disastrous sinking ship. And I laugh because nobody has fallen more in my eyesight and respect than Bob Kraft. I would have given him kudos for being the best owner in the history of the Patriots. But he's trashing Belichick with these leaks to the media. And whenever you hear strange comments, you know it's coming from the Krafts. When they were talking about firing Belichick, there was this bizarre, elegant departure or some stupid thing. And the last year, now that I think about it, with Belichick's son and Mayo as the coordinators, there were these leaks saying that, well, Steve Belichick is afraid to speak in front of a crowd. Really weird things you'd never hear before. That has the Kraft fingerprints all over it, because now you know they were going to hire Mayo as the coach. They're such sleazeballs, the neediest people in sports. They're just disgusting.
Nick, you know what I want? I just want them to acknowledge that they made a mistake. Like, just acknowledge.
They'll never do that. No, you got a better chance of seeing snow in hell, my friend.
But I'm telling you, though, if you say, hey, I made a lack in judgment in this one and we're bringing somebody else in, nobody would complain.
Oh, yeah. I love that Belichick is firing back now.
Oh, yeah.
Kraft never misses a chance to trash him. And when he said the other day that all my mistake was I left too much control in Belichick's hands, well, F you, mister.
Sorry, I thought it was getting there. I got a little dicey there. When I heard F you, I went, whoa, whoa. F you, mister. I like that. Thanks, Nick. Good call, buddy. Yes. The Krafts will never take ownership. This is the one I think they can. And you know what's funny? Someone's getting on me because 3 weeks ago I said stop blaming the coaches. Like I was like, because I actually thought that this again, to use a famous line, Skaz, we have a show to do today. So that's my lever on that one. 3 weeks ago I blamed the team. I blamed the players. I did. I can't blame the players when the coach calls them soft. I'm sorry. If you've ever played an organized sport in your life, especially like football, and you're out there busting your ass, bleeding for your teammates, and someone calls you soft, what are you doing about it, bro? I'm sorry. I'll share something with you before we go to break here, but I reached out today to a former NFL player, and I asked said person, Belichick went 5-11 in his first year. What was the locker room like? Do you think Mayo will be back next year? And this person told me that guys were playing undisciplined. Meetings were tense. The difference from then to now is the team had really good leaders. Also, his guess was Kraft probably won't fire him after 1 year because it reflects poorly on Kraft. And couldn't agree more. But one other thing happened yesterday. After the game, it was Jonathan Jones that brought the team together and gave him a spirited speech. I respect Jonathan Jones. I really think he's developed into a nice player in this league, right? He signed as an undrafted kid, got a nice extension, is a really good 2 corner in the league. He's a top 3 corner in the league. On a team, he's a top 3 corner in the league. And is he a captain? I don't even know if he's a captain's cast. But him speaking after the game, it's great. I like that. There's nobody on the Patriots that can give a speech people can look up to and respect and let it resonate. Because it's certainly not the coach. It's great that Jonathan Jones did that, and I respect him for it. But with a team like this, it's not going to work. You don't have the star power. 617-779-0985. We're going to do some Joe math next. Just trying to do some math from yesterday's game because you should have saw me. This was like a mix of Good Will Hunting and The Hangover. Both of them when you should have saw me trying to figure out the math. We'll do it next here on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Sports Hub headlines.
All right, well, the Patriots lost in London yesterday, and now they'll have to take on the New York Jets, who also lost last night to the Pittsburgh Steelers. So, now they're going to get
Here, touchdown catch for Osborne. And the 5th touchdown pass for May. The Patriots keep the offense on the field. They go for 2. Osborne has to get set. 3 to the left, 1 to the right. May takes the snap, throws it to the right. Receiver fell down.
Got him.
He had Jalen Polk at the goal line. He slipped and fell to the turf.
It'd have been wide open.
And the Patriots now trail it 25 to 6.
It's on the crossover with Felger and Maz, but the Patriots were down by 15 points, 25-10. But before they got the ball and scored a touchdown, the Jaguars had a 4th and 1, 25-10. They were running the ball down the Patriots' throat, no doubt about it. And on 4th and 1, most teams would say, well, they haven't stopped us yet, so why don't we just go for it? But I don't know. I look at it and say, with 8 minutes left in the game, I'd rather a 3-touchdown lead or a 3-touchdown lead instead of a 2-touchdown lead. So it's 25-10, and what do the Jags do? They go for it on 4th down, and wow, the Patriots defense actually stopped them. They stopped them. So then Drake May leads the team down the field. Big throws on 3rd down to Hunter Henry. Not the greatest throw, but a great throw where he put it where a guy could make a play. Then there was the 33-yard pass down the sideline to Kayshon Boutte. Then the touchdown to Osborne. Wow. 25-16. Kick the field goal, 1-score game. Right? Instead of kicking the field goal to make it a 1-possession game, they scheme up a play for who? Jalen Polk, who slips, falls, and the Patriots are now down by 9 points. I don't care about your analytics. This was terrible coaching by both coaches and terrible football that we had to watch. This was on the national stage internationally. The Patriots must be an international joke for what they've put on display over the last couple of years. That was pathetic by both. At least Peterson can say, well, they didn't stop us. No, they couldn't stop us. So they ended up getting bailed out. But the Patriots? Math? They can't even do math. They can't coach. They can't do math. This guy can't be here anymore. And I understand that it probably isn't Gerard Mayo who made the call. It's some guy upstairs that they have to go to, some analytic dude. Out! It all's got to go. It all got to go. The person that has been hired to run the team after Bill Belichick is incapable. Everybody's incapable, including the owner, who needs to take accountability, because for all the people who keep saying he won't do it, he should do it for that simple reason alone. Let's take your calls at 617-779-0985. Ryan's in Medford. Hey, Ryan.
Hey, Joe. How's it going?
Hey, buddy.
Hey, so I was thinking, just when you're listing off everybody who got contracts this year, what if this ineptitude to actually run a football team is why Judon got out of town and blew his way out of here instead of just the contract?
Dude, absolutely. Yeah, we said that at the time, too. Like, everyone got paid but him. Why? Because he's good? Why? And then he actually embarrassed the whole organization at that practice and called out many people. He actually called the Patriots liars, believe it or not.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
And they got a 3rd-round pick. Got embarrassed. Bill is in Mattapan. Hey, Bill.
Hey, Mr. Murray.
Hey.
I want to compliment you on your acting.
My acting?
You're acting as a person trying to act like you're not a racist.
What?
And I would like to compliment Mr. Irving on him pretending that he don't hear you being a racist. You both need to have an Academy Award, and I think you should be there when they give them out next April or May or whenever
I'm
they
sorry,
do.
I don't appreciate anybody calling into my... I don't
are
appreciate anyone calling into my show, calling me that. Calling me that? Should I even acknowledge this right now? Please, stop with that. Grew up next to the town you called from, bro. Don't do that to me. Let's talk to Scott. What's up, Scott? Hey, Scott. He's not listening. One more call before I go to break. Adam's in Pawtucket. Hey, Adam.
Hey, what's going on, man? Hey, I don't know what the hell was going on with that guy, but yeah, that was uncalled for, man. Hey, so I just wanted to call about, the whole Robb Mayo show. I mean, got hired 5 years too early. Obviously it seems like he's going to be here 1 full year too late. They're going to be too late to get rid of him. I mean, this guy needs to get out of here. So we finally have a quarterback that can throw, 150 yards down the field, 150 yards a game. And I feel like the coaching staff is going to be, going to be there to ruin him. I mean, I don't know. I don't know how you can get hire someone that early and you don't know what's going to be on the table as far as other coordinators and coaches. I don't know. I just feel like that you kind of got something with Drake May. I mean, it's still early, but hopefully these guys don't ruin them and hopefully they figure something out quick. Thanks for taking my call.
All right, Adam, appreciate you, man. I don't know what they're going to do at this point. I mean, this is the guy. We're building something. Remember, they're building something. They're building something. What are you building right now? What are you building? Well, hear what Bill Belichick had to say about it. The Patriots are at an all-time low, and Bill Belichick's now talking. Shots are fired. We'll talk about that coming up next here on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
More Joe Murray coming up on The Sports Hub.
Yeah, well, I think Drake May's done some good things. In the end, we'll see how it goes when situations get a little more competitive and all that. But, defensively, the Patriots led the league last year in rushing defense, yards per carry, number 1 in the league. And this year, they're way down in the 20s somewhere. It's the same guys. They re-signed Jennings, they re-signed Tavai, they re-signed, obviously, Duggar, right? Marcus Jones and Gonzalez have been healthy all year, which they were both on IR at this point last year. So you got Wise, you got Godshaw, you got Keon White, you got Mapu, you got Gonzalez, 3 rookies from last year. So it's a lot of the same players, and in some cases, I would say more. So I'm kind of hurt for those guys because they call them soft. They're not soft. They were the best team in the league last year against the run. And those guys went out there and did it, even though we couldn't score many points offensively. So, I don't know. I feel bad for the defensive players on that one because those guys, that's a tough group. I mean, John Jones, Godshaw, Wise, Jennings, those are all, Uche, those guys are all tough players. Like, they'll strap it up and go. Duggar, I mean, they're tough guys.
I'm Joe Murray. We're here until 10 o'clock tonight. That was Bill Belichick. Well, just so you know, the Patriots, I looked this up yesterday. I think I threw this in our Slack. We started our Slack channel during the Patriots game yesterday because you just couldn't hold back the takes any longer. It was that bad. But I had to look this up. But the Patriots are now in the worst era in their entire career. If you look at the pre-Tom Brady era, the Patriots had a .410 winning percentage. .410. When they had Tom Brady, it was much higher. How about 77? How about a 770 win percentage with Gerard Mayo? Oh, sorry, with Tom Brady. Whoa. And then with Gerard Mayo, since Tom Brady has left, and with Bill Belichick, I'll throw that in there, they are in the worst era ever in Patriots history for winning percentage, 405. So for those who want to tell me about, the old Schaefer Stadium and Foxborough Stadium, I remember going. I remember the troughs. I remember all that. It was horrible. It was terrible. It was the worst parking situation in the history of life. It was dangerous. Going to a football game as a 9-year-old, woo! Let me tell you the experience. You come home a man after that. But right now, we're living in the worst era in Patriots history. Think about that. The team that was almost sold, moved, etc. That team was better than this. And I can only blame one person. It's Robert Kraft. But here comes Bill Belichick today defending his guys. And you know what? I support him. Now, is the move a little sleazy? The fact that the guy here hasn't said a word when they were doing well early in the season, but now that they're at their all-time worst, he now comes out to talk? I back him for what he said. Those are his guys. Those guys aren't soft. Bill Belichick never called his guys soft. Bill Belichick, after every loss, would always say, we need to do a better job of coaching. That's what he would say after every single loss. Like, just think about that. The coach of the Patriots called everyone soft. The former coach comes out and does say led the league in rushing defense last year, which they were number 1 in the league per rush. They were. I'm hurt for those guys because they're not soft. I feel bad for the defensive players because they're all tough players. I agree with that. Oh, man. I wish I could relate to everybody listening. You've probably played a sport or in high school or whether it's the next level, you name it. If somebody called you a sissy or soft, how did that go over? Now, imagine your coach doing it. When you're out there playing hurt, you're literally bleeding. You're showing up to every practice. You're sacrificing so many things for the team. and the coach calls you soft, he ain't getting out of this one. Sorry. I'm out. They need a new guy in 2025. I got names for you. If you want to check it out, 985thesportshub.com. I already have my wish list. I have the guy that I want. I have the guy I think the Crafts will want as well. It's not going to be Gerard Mayo. I'll tell you that right now. And for the people that want to say they're not going to fire him after 1 year, they should for that exact reason. 617-779-0985. We'll get a quick look at the headlines. We got football games tonight. A doubleheader. I got to get some bets in as well. And, Drake May, the hope, the new hope. How does he feel about all this Gerard Mayo stuff? And what were our thoughts on his day yesterday? We'll do that after the headlines. I'm Joe Murray here on the Sports Hub.
From the Town Fair Tire Studios, the Patriots. Into the end zone. Touchdown for the Patriots. WBC FM and HD Boston 98.5, the Sports Hub, the Beasley Media Group station. Sports Hub headlines.
All right, Patriots losers. They're back in London from London. They lost yesterday. Now they'll take on the Jets, who also lost last night. Just a lot of losing going on, Doubleheader tonight in the NFL. Ravens, Bucks. Ravens 4.5-point favorites on the road. We have a lot of road chalk tonight. Ravens 4.5-point favorites, total 50.5. And then the Chargers go to Arizona as a 1-point favorite, total 44.5 on that one. 49ers news, Deebo Samuel in the hospital dealing with some sort of fluid from pneumonia. He has been on the injured reserve list, but this could push back what's going on with him. And the Celtics open up the regular season tomorrow night against New York. They will raise a banner. Headlines. They are brought to you by Kesha's Law. Injured and can't work? Turn to Kesha's Law, the official law firm of the New England Patriots, to tackle your needs with local attorneys who live and serve here in New England. Let Kesha's Law fight for you. Go to keshaslaw.com to book your free consultation today. I'm Joe Murray. Your next update soon.
No matter where you go, you're always connected to Boston sports with the 98.5 The Sports Hub app. Download it wherever you get your apps today.
Back here on 98.5 The Sports Hub. We mentioned what Bill Belichick said. There were a few other quotes out there. The one from Gerard Mayo, or regarding Gerard Mayo, this one made the round this weekend. Mike Lombardi says, why are the Patriots rebuilding and Washington winning when Washington was by far worse going into last season? Washington isn't blaming Ron Rivera or even mention his name. But it's all Belichick's fault in New England? The classic blame game. And Devin McCourty also had something regarding the soft comments as well. Gerard Mayo's decision to label the Patriots as a soft football team. Well, it's he backtracked it today. But last night on Football Night in America, ex-Patriot safety Devin McCourty had a bone to pick with Mayo's comments, saying toughness isn't a skill set. You don't need to be fast or do anything special to be tough. The second part of that is why, Gerard? Why is this team not tough? When you hear a team isn't tough and they are soft, you think, what is the head coach doing? How is he getting them ready? Mayo and that staff had a lot of question to answer going into next week. I couldn't agree more. I couldn't agree more. How does this all react to one Drake May, who had a pretty good performance yesterday? For those people that are excited about Drake May, he's one of just two quarterbacks in history to throw for 500 passing yards and 5 touchdowns in his first 2 starts, joining Dan Marino. Dan. Yeah, that Dan. The guy from Ace Ventura. The guy that played for the Dolphins. That guy, remember? He was pretty good. I remember him. There was a shootout one year between Dan Marino and Drew Bledsoe. It was amazing. I'm trying to think. It was Hassan Graham made this beautiful catch in the back of the end zone, completely just diving for the ball. It was on a Gatorade ad. It was awesome. But back to Drake May. There's a lot going on here in front of him. Was Gerard Mayo calling Drake May soft? How does Drake May feel about the head coach calling the team soft?
Coach Mayo's not going to come in here and say something he hasn't said us in the locker room. I think we're not tough. He always preaches being tough. He preached it today. Being tough is running the football, stopping the run, and covering kicks is what he said. So I think he does a great job of relaying the message to us, and the guys know. John Jones gave a speech after the game saying you got to find it. We got to find something, and what we're doing is not good enough, and we got to man up.
Got to man up. I'm glad this isn't affecting Drake May. Skaz, is this a part of his development now for Drake May? Now fighting through adversity of the wide receivers in the locker room, getting all upset. Like, how does he go to these guys? Hey guys, listen. I know you guys have problems with the team here, but I got to throw to somebody. so hey, Demario Douglas, how about this pop? Don't go out in London the night before the game and throw up and have to leave the game. Can we make a deal on that one, bro? And hey, Kendrick, how about you don't call him out for it? And Osborne, you made a nice play. Please don't make the call signal after your touchdown to let other teams know that you're available. Because that happened. And Jalen Polk, stop saying you have the best hands in the league. Just catch the ball. That's all we ask for. Who am I missing? Am I missing another receiver? Hey, Hunter Henry, by the way, baller yesterday, right? That guy looked tough to me. You're going to call Hunter Henry soft? How's this one hurting the development for Drake May? Is there any positives in this, guys? Because I think he's thrown into a crap sandwich. He's got a crap coordinator, a crap coach, ownership that doesn't know what he's doing. He fell to the Patriots. Do you think he was praying the night before the draft? Please, no. Please. Because the Giants really, really wanted him. There were some other teams that really wanted Drake May. I don't give the Patriots any credit for selecting Drake May because a quarterback fell to them. So now he's thrown in the crap sandwich. He's going to deal with unhappy receivers, a running game that can't run the ball anymore, a terrible offensive line. He's going to have another probably head coach and offensive coordinator next year, and his defense can't stop a nosebleed. This is just perfect for Drake May. So it's North Carolina all over again.
Tough to disagree with anything you said there, Joe, but I'm trying to think of a similar situation, and the only thing that I've been able to come up with is when Trevor Lawrence was in Jacksonville with Urban Meyer, and I know it's probably unfair to compare Mayo to Urban Meyer because Urban Meyer was a mess on and off the field and during practices, and there was a myriad of issues with Urban Meyer in Jacksonville, but Trevor Lawrence was almost forced to become the face of that franchise 3 weeks into his rookie year because of how dysfunctional things were around him. Now, it's not quite that here in New England, but it's almost trending in that direction where Drake May has the entire franchise, on his shoulders because of how dysfunctional the entire organization seems to be right now. So it's about as bad as it gets for Drake May. No offensive line, no real weapons, but the kid has shown us something, and I think that's almost the most frustrating thing is that Drake May is, I don't know, the 9th or 10th problem for the Patriots. He's not even a problem. I wouldn't consider him a problem at all. Problem. Drake May's been good.
Is this good for his development?
Is this good for his development? I guess getting reps has to be good for his development, but everything else, the last thing you want is Drake May getting sped up, is him getting his timing ruined, is him getting, hit too early, he gets scared, he gets happy feet, stuff like that. We haven't seen any of that yet, but that's obviously the fear. When it comes to...
But do you think like a receiver is like, hey, why don't you come out with us, Drake, tonight?
No.
It's like...
that's on Drake May.
Let's say
that's on Drake May if something like that happens.
Let's say it's Pop Douglas and Kendrick Bourne. Hey man, you want to come out with us tonight?
That has nothing to do with the organization or Gerard Mayo. To me, that's on Drake May, the individual.
You're right. I get you on that one.
And I think Drake May has shown every step of the way that he is ready to be the face of an organization.
Here's where I'm going with this, guys. Is there poison in the locker room?
I think poison is strong. Okay. I don't think it's gotten to that point yet. but I think there's a lack of leadership. There's a lack of culture. There's just a lack of identity.
Does he sound like in this situation that was a leadership answer?
Yes, I
do too.
I think Drake May is showing leadership, but that's almost the problem.
I know.
Is that's being forced onto Drake May already.
So that's where I'm going with it.
So for me,
he now has to be the leader.
There is no identity down there. There is no culture. They are not the hard-nosed defensive team we thought they were going to be. They can't score 17 points and win a game. They can't score 21 points and win a game. Tank Bigsby is running for 110 yards on them. They are a soft football team, and yeah, it's forced a lot onto Drake May's plate, but I still think that he should, be out there learning, getting the reps, but more of the PR, you're saying he's giving a leadership type answer. All of that is an unfair position for him to be in.
It's very unfair. Is it going to hurt his development? Now he's thrown into being a leader. Can you believe that? 617-779-0985. We're going to talk to Alex Barth. We'll talk to him, but let's knock out a couple of calls before we do so. We got Mark in Braintree. Hey, Mark.
Hey, how's it going? I had an idea for a coach. Obviously, Mayo's not working it out, but is it too early to maybe see if Gruden's around? Like, what's he doing now?
So, Mark, good call. I believe John Gruden is an assistant somewhere. But I did an article that you can read over at 985thesportshub.com. I put his name on one of the potential Kraft decisions. There was an email controversy. In the article I wrote fiasco, somebody wanted to tell me, hey, Joe is a little bit more than a fiasco. You can read the details. I don't need to tell you that. He's had a few consulting roles. Right now, I believe he's working with, or he was with the Saints. He's with the Saints. He's an advisor for the Saints. This is why I think the Krafts would consider John Gruden. Nobody else wants to come here. They need somebody that's hard-nosed, that had NFL experience, and who's won a Super Bowl. The flip side is, how did that all work out with the Vegas Raiders? Right? After 9 years coaching there, he came back. It was a disaster. And obviously the email controversy was not good. So he's gonna coach this year, or he's a part of the European Football League, I believe. But if nobody wants to play or come to the Patriots, coach the Patriots, you're going to have to start finding guys that need an opportunity. Like, I use Ozzie Guillen in baseball as an example. The White Sox need a new manager, right? Would Ozzie Guillen go back to that? Who's going to hire Ozzie Guillen? Who's going to hire John Gruden? Maybe the Patriots, because he's an offensive mind, has experience, can run a program, and it's the only chance he'll ever get. That's why I put him on the list. Let's talk to Topher. Topher, how you doing, bud?
I'm doing all right, Joe. How are you?
Hey, hanging in there.
I'm not sure what's softer, Kraft sandwich or Patriots.
Kraft sandwich of bread can be a little rough, so I'd say the Patriots.
But I was thinking of something that you said. Like, this is why I'm calling. It's, I've played sports. I know probably a bunch of people played sports. If anybody, coach-wise or otherwise, came to me or was talking to somebody and I heard somebody say, oh, you guys are soft, I'm sorry. I'm either not suiting up unless I get an apology because, dude, that guy's a jerk.
That's what's going to happen.
Or I'm just not even attempting to try. I mean, if anybody's literally seen the Mighty Ducks, what happens when Gordon Bombay is talking crap behind everybody?
That's true.
Everybody stops.
Topher, that's a great analogy. When the Mighty Ducks, yes, that's a great analogy. When Gordon Bombay was talking about all those kids, they all didn't want to play for him anymore. Sometimes you got to relate movies to the people. One more before we go, because I'm interested. Ryan and Hanson. Hey, Ryan.
Hey, what's up, my man?
What's up, buddy?
Hey, first, let me start by saying I'm a 25-year-old, so I got spoiled with all the Patriots, winnings growing up, and so I saw nothing but success. And I'm going to take the opposite stance here and say everyone's coming after Mayo, that he called the players soft, and obviously I'm sure he was speaking out of anger.
Well,
because
he did say it, so you can't defend him saying it. He said it.
No. I'm not defending him saying it. I'm defending. I don't think the media is making it more than it is.
No. Listen, I was on the air when he said it yesterday. I didn't make a big deal about it. He said it. Dude, have you ever played sports in your life, bro?
Of course.
Has anybody ever called you a sissy or the P word?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, how do you feel after that?
Well, I try not to let it get to me.
You're trying to. Yeah, when there's contracts and money involved in your career, you're not going to be upset about that?
But he's calling a spade here. I mean, they're playing bad football.
Yeah, who does it reflect on? Him.
Reflects on
him.
Yes, I know. But I agree with you in the sense that it's going to hurt the team with him saying that.
Bro, he just called a bunch of guys soft who are playing out there with broken shoulders and ankles. Like Kyle Duggar's out there with a sprained ankle every day. Christian Gonzalez is playing with a hurt shoulder, and you're going to call them soft?
Yeah.
Ramondre Stevenson was playing with a bad foot with no practice.
Yeah. Maybe soft wasn't the right word to use, but I think he was speaking out of anger.
Bro,
and I think
you could call him what you want. Call him the P word. So other people say it's guys on the air. I just won't say it because, But that's the one. I might as well just call them that. See, this is what I mean. I feel like I'm talking to people who never played sports. Someone calls you soft and you're giving it up. Oh, that does not go well. It's the worst thing Listen to what McAfee said today. He started his show with this. Pat McAfee was a punter. He was a punter and said this is the worst thing you can say to a football team. We'll talk to Alex Barth and get his thoughts coming up next here on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Don't go anywhere. There's more Joe Murray. On the way on 98.5 The
right, back here 98.5, the Sports Hub of Joe Murray. Man, there's a couple of people out there defending Gerard Mayo for the soft comment. Sorry. Nope. If somebody at my job called me soft, oh boy. Oh boy. Oh boy. On the football field, when you play a sport and someone says that you're soft or you're a wuss or a sissy, once the coach does that, oh, that hamstring is just bothering me a little bit this week, man. Oh, my foot hurts. Can't move my arm today. Got the Jets this week. Sauce Gardner's going to lock me down anyways. Let's go to the Volkswagen Dealers Expert Hotline. We'll ask Alex Barth from 98.5thesportshub.com about that. After the game, Gerard Mayo called the team soft, Alex, and then backtracked today, but can't go back on the words, man. Some people agreed, some didn't. What were your thoughts?
I think backtracking really undercuts it, but look, I don't think he's wrong. Like, if you go back and watch that game, both sides of the ball, they're getting blown off the line of scrimmage every snap. And, you know, I think I'd have more of a problem with the comment if he just came out and said it to the media. Drake May sort of let us know that that was his message to the team in the locker room postgame. And I do wonder if he said it publicly because the message wasn't getting through, because he sort of did this last week. And I wrote about this on 98.5thesportshub.com, specifically talking about the defense and the tackling effort or lack thereof. Last week, he said, you know, I told those guys they should feel like crap. So I do wonder if this message has been building behind closed doors for a little bit and it wasn't getting through, and that's why he took this step.
It was a bad one. Just team sports. Nobody calls the team soft. Like Bill Belichick would take accountability. He would. Hey, we need to coach better, do this. So I feel like Mayo's been running off a script now. We're 8 weeks in, 7 weeks in, Alex. Like, when I worked in sales, we used to have these, like, scripts, that, like, when someone mentioned this, we'd have, like, a rebuttal, you know what I mean? Or, like, a way to kind of answer everything. I feel like he has so many scripts now, he doesn't know what to say. But I am kind of curious how the players bounce back. Will Ramondre Stevenson's foot hurt this week against the Jets? Will Christian Gonzalez all of a sudden start to deal with that shoulder now, right? Does Kyle Duggar's, ankle bothering him again? I'm going to keep my eyes on that because personally, I think that's what starts happening when that word gets thrown around.
Well, I mean, I think you just worry about that in the sense of it being a 1-6 team where things are kind of being handled loosely. I think that's something you worry about regardless of what Gerard Mayo said. But, no, it will be interesting to see how guys respond. Look, the message clearly wasn't getting across before, so he put it out there in the open, and we'll see if guys rise to the occasion. Like Jelani Tavai was asked about it. He spoke after Mayo. He was asked about it and basically agreed with Mayo. He said, yeah, like we need to look in the mirror and figure out, who in here wants to be a part of turning it around and who in here doesn't. So I think you're going to see different reactions from different players, but I worried about that, guys starting to check out even before Mayo said that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, remember it was Godshaw a couple of weeks ago, called some guys out, Aquale this weekend, Kendrick Bourne. I think Bourne made a shot at Pop Douglas, to be honest with you. Pop left the game due to an illness and mentioned guys eating the night before. Like, now this brings up Drake May to me. He was asked about what Gerard Mayo said, and he said, hey, anything Mayo says, he'll say it indoors. I'm now starting to feel like he's being rushed into a leadership role. Do you feel that way, and could that hurt his development?
A little bit. Well, look, I'm usually the first guy to say, no, don't do that. You're going to mess with the quarterback. I actually don't think this should mess with his development too much because you are going to want him to be a leader eventually, and it shouldn't always be this chaotic. So that part doesn't bother me a ton as long as it doesn't get to the point where, like, you don't want him having to defend the coach in public when everybody in the locker room maybe is lost or vice versa, right? So that's I don't worry about that too much, but you do worry about him getting put in a tough spot down the road.
All right, talking about Alex Barth, 98.5thesportshub.com. What did you think of – I mean, we can talk about the game, right? What the Patriots defense gave up 170 yards on the ground. They couldn't stop a nosebleed. It's the worst rushing defense I can remember since 2002, maybe. This is really bad. So if we're just talking about the game, where do you want to start? Offense, defense, or special teams?
I mean, I think you start at the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball. Like I said, you look at where the actual line of scrimmage is, like where the ball is placed, and you look at where the two sides are lined up, like half a second after the ball is snapped. We call that the initial push, the initial surge, right? And just about every single play, it's the Jaguars winning the initial surge. Go back and look at the fourth down quarterback sneak Trevor Lawrence has late in the game. Usually it's quarterback sneak, right? Quarterback's got to put his head down, kind of muscle forward, help with that push. He could have just stood up straight and held the ball out in front of him. He had that much room because the Patriots just got blown off the ball. Rushing. The Jaguars averaged 2.2 yards before contact per rush, which is about the league average. The Patriots running backs, 0.33 yards before contact yards per rush before contact. That's just losing at the line of scrimmage. And until they can fix that, they're going to continue to struggle.
What can they do defensively? Do they have to, Jeremiah Farms get brought up and somebody else inactive? Like, do they have to find a jag on the street? Like, do they need a middle linebacker? Is Devin White worth a call? What do they do to help this? Because, I see the Jets coming in. Breece Hall's probably licking his chops right now.
Yeah, and look, that's a tough question, Joe. I would say, for one, they've got to get guys back in their proper positions. And I think that there's certain guys that aren't playing well that they want to get out of the lineup. Joshua Uche played a season low in snaps yesterday. Keon White played a season low in snaps yesterday. But in order to do that, they end up playing guys out of position. Jelani Tavai needs to be back on the edge. He's not an off-ball linebacker. He needs to be back setting the edge. But to do that, you need somebody off the ball. And when Raekwon McMillan's not playing well, another guy who had his snaps cut into yesterday, you need another option. So Sione Takitaki didn't play. I don't know if he was he's been hurt. He came back last week, then he was inactive. So was he a healthy scratch? Was that something lingering with the injury? Look, if he's hurt, he's hurt. He can't play. He can't be a healthy scratch, though. And he only played 9 snaps last week. That's the guy they need on defense because you can play him off the ball. You can put Tavai back on the edge. Ellis becomes a rover. That's not necessarily the best group personnel-wise, but at least guys are playing their actual positions. And we did this with the offensive line for the first month and a half of the season. If you can at least get everybody back in their natural position, you get a baseline. And then from there, I don't know how much more the ceiling can grow, but at least it gives you a certain level of reliability. Right now, they're just plugging and playing guys in spots that they're not used to, and it looks accordingly. It looks like a bunch of guys who are playing unfamiliar positions out there.
Yeah, the middle linebacker spot, who would have thought that it was really this bad? How do they get their offensive rushing game going? I know Stevenson's dealing with a foot injury, and Gibson got hurt yesterday. Hasty had the touchdown out of the backfield, but where's Kevin Harris, and what else can they do there?
I don't know that Kevin Harris is the answer because, again, Ramondre came back, and I thought last week they missed Ramondre Stevenson pretty badly. He didn't make much of a difference. Again, 0.33 yards per rush before contact. So guys are getting hit at the line of scrimmage, if not behind it. That's just not a sustainable way to run the football. Honestly, the best thing that could happen for their run game at this point, so two things, and they both involve the quarterback. One, some quarterback designed runs, even some read options, opportunities to create space. That could be something that would work. And then just Drake May continuing to throw the football well, especially down the field. And can you force teams into 2 safety looks? Can you force teams to drop more guys into coverage and just focus less on the run? I think some of it, this lack of run game has coincided with Drake May coming in. And I think teams look at it, and even though Drake May was the 3rd overall pick, they look at it and say, there's a rookie quarterback. We want to make him beat us throwing the football, right? We want the rookie to prove what he can do, which makes a lot of sense. Well, the rookie's starting to prove it. And if he can prove it more, do teams start focusing less on the run? That's something that can help it. Again, the quarterback design runs. And if that doesn't work, you have to simulate the run in the pass game. And that means RPOs. That means screens. quick releases, things like that. But they got to do something because they can't win running the football like this.
Just one more. Jalen Polgart, we know the story, but what do they do? Do they bench him? Does he sit on the sideline? Is it tough love? Do they just put him back out there? And I mean, I really just don't know what to do because they've lost so many of these type of guys over the years when Bill was here and now he's not. The same thing's happening. How do they handle it?
Well, he is the ifs, right? That's essentially what it seems like. It's a mental thing where he's thinking too much about catching the football. Ideally, you'd put him back out there on the field and let him keep going, but you need to do what's best for Drake May right now, and that may not be what's best for Drake May. I'm with you. It's too soon to quit on him entirely, but he's got to figure this out. But in the meantime, maybe you don't scratch him, but a reduced role just to kind of let him reset may be the answer, and it may be time to take another look at Javon Baker because you're going to need somebody there. Maybe put Javon Baker out there and he sees another rookie having success, and that kind of helps him get through it. I don't think it's a skill issue. This is really surprising. Like seeing him in camp, if I thought if he had an issue, he wasn't going to be separating. He just wasn't going to be able to get himself open. I thought that was going to be his problem if he had one. Hands, he had maybe the most reliable hands of anybody in camp. So I don't think this is an ability issue, like a physical ability issue. I think it's mental, and that can be a little more tricky to work through. Maybe you get him with a sports psychologist or something like that.
All right, you watch college football this weekend?
I did. Great weekend.
And what did you think of the offensive line in that Texas game? And I got to ask you this. Patriots are on track to get the number 1 overall pick. They won't draft there, right, if that's the case?
Your first question, it's not a great game for Kelvin Banks. That certainly complicates things a little bit. We'll see if he bounces back here down the stretch. He'll have some other big-time opponents. First overall pick, I would be surprised if they pick there, but none of these quarterbacks are standing out. And if you're not going to get a ton for it, it's tough. Like, Patriots fans need to start rooting big time for Carson Beck, Shadur Sanders, Jalen Milroe. Cam Ward might end up being the guy we all need to really break through, but I will say I'll take a little victory lap on the people who told me last year, just draft the quarterback next year. There's quarterbacks every year. No, there aren't. And you're seeing that right now. To me, it's about, like, the ideal situation, you trade down a little bit. So I have been, trade down, just take the tackles and collect the haul. Now I wonder, so there's 2 tackles everybody talks about, right? Kelvin Banks at Texas and Will Campbell at LSU. There's a third guy we've talked about a little bit. I think I've talked about him with you, Ariante Irisi at Minnesota. You also have Tet McMillan, the wide receiver from Arizona, going off. Do you start looking at a situation where it's moved down a couple spots, get McMillan, and then move back up into the 20s and maybe get Irisi or another one of these later first-round tackles? Connerly from Oregon would be another one. We still got a long way to go. I'm not locking anything in, but, if they get the first overall pick, I think you have to look at what the Bears did, where they moved down and were able to get a haul that supported a really hefty part of their rebuild, and see if you can replicate that.
All right, Alex, I got a content piece for you because, either you're going to do it or I am. So let's collab. Just spitballing here. You can think about it over time, but if there were 3 guys available at the trade deadline that the Patriots could capitalize on now and moving on from, who would they be?
That's a good question. I wouldn't hate them making like the Bears traded for Montez Sweat last year. It would have to come with an extension, but yeah, that's a good question. T. Higgins. I'm trying to think if there's any edge rushers who would be available. But
how about guys on the Patriots that would be traded?
Oh, guys to trade away?
Yeah.
So I'll give you. I mean, there's some obvious ones, right? Joshua Uche, Tyquan Thornton, KJ Osborne. I'll give you another one I was thinking about. I'm not ready to lock this take in yet. I need one more week, but this is in the workshop. I wonder if they would look to move City So. And I think City So is a good player. I wouldn't trade him. But they clearly aren't as high on him. He's been buried on the depth chart. They've played Layden Robinson over him. They've played Michael Jordan over him. Obviously, Michael Nwenu, when he's playing at guard, is ahead of him. But City So's shown some upside as a young player. And in a league where offensive line play is at a shortage, you may be able to get something decent for him, like a 4th-round pick, which is where they drafted him. And if you're not going to play him anyway, if he's on the bottom of your depth chart, and we'll see what happens when Cole Strange comes back, like that may be another guy he's behind, that might not be a bad guy to move. They have a logjam at guard anyway. I know he has 2 more years on his contract, but if they're not going to play him, if they see him as like their 4th guard, I'd move him.
I got a couple for you. Austin Hooper.
That's another good one. 1 year deal.
KJ Osborne, definitely.
KJ Osborne, yeah. I'm getting to the point where I'd be surprised if he wasn't traded.
I like Jalen Hawkins, but I think you might be able to get something for him.
He's had some rough games this year. I don't know, maybe.
And I got one more for you.
Yeah.
Jacoby Brissett.
I think so. I thought about this. There probably would be some value, especially you look at a team like Cleveland, right, that lost Deshaun Watson yesterday and clearly isn't high on Jameis Winston. With the locker room, with you're starting to have guys kind of speak publicly and guys call each other out. I think there may be value in keeping that veteran presence.
All right. Well, there you go. You got a nice new article for you. When is the trade deadline now?
2 weeks from, I think it's 2 weeks from tomorrow. It's November 5th.
So
2 weeks?
So they'll play this week against the Jets.
Yeah.
When's the bye? 2 weeks away, right? So
they have a few weeks. Yeah. They play 2 more games.
So they can.
So they have this week against the Jets, and then they're at the Titans next week.
Ooh.
And then the deadline will be 2 days after that.
Well, guys get 2 more weeks to show what they got, or they're out. At least
Titans game. I mean, the Titans are not a good team, so that's as far as the showcase game goes. You couldn't ask for much of a better one than that.
All right, Alex. What else you got going on, man?
I'm getting ready. I'm excited for the Celtics tomorrow night.
Ooh.
That's honestly I feel like there's. I know they just won the title, but like the anticipation for the season is awesome. I think because it feels so real they can repeat. So I'm getting really excited for the Celtics, Joe. I got to tell you.
I got to tell you, I almost thought about betting him 3-peat tomorrow, plus 1,000.
Wow, I wouldn't hate that. I got to check out with the Green Teamers podcast with James Stewart.
That's right. Did you hear about that? The Green Teamers podcast?
Yeah, brand new Sports Hub podcast. Everybody should check it out.
There you go. Just another colleague putting you over there, Scads.
We love a free plug. Thank you, Barth.
All right, Alex of 98.5, thesportshub.com, and the Sunday Football Show, which will return because you guys got preempted by London this week.
Yeah, so we'll be back. We had this week off. We'll be back next week, 8 a.m. on 98.5, the Sports Hub.
All right, he's Alex Barth, everybody. Go check out his work at 98.5, thesportshub.com. Alex, enjoy the games tonight, bud.
Thanks, Joe.
All right, he's Alex Barth, everyone. Does a solid job over there at 98.5, thesportshub.com. Hey, he mentioned the Celtics, huh? Joe Mazzulla had a great one today. We'll tell you what those are, and I got to get my bets in for tonight. We'll do that next here on the Sports Hub.
Sports Hub headlines.
All right, Patriots lose, so now
pressure do you feel to kind of maximize this opportunity that you have with this group?
Zero. No pressure. We're all going to be dead soon. It really doesn't matter anymore. So there's zero pressure. You're either going to win or you're not. When you win, you try to forget about it a week later, and when you lose, you try to forget about it a week later. And so it's not pressure, it's an opportunity. And we have an opportunity here over the next few years, however long we're together. We've said this in the past. Like, we have an opportunity to carry the organization forward, to double down on the tradition and the history of what this organization has. And what else would you expect in someone expecting you to win all the time? I wouldn't want someone expecting you to lose all the time. That would be debilitating. So we have an expectation to win. We have great character, great talent, and we just have to work to maximize that, and we're going to rely on the players to do that.
But that quote by Joe Mazzulla, I got to tell you, because some people don't like crossing sports, but I have to do it right now. One coach in town called their players soft. The other coach, off a championship, by the way, says he feels no pressure to maximize the Celtics window. Why? We're all going to be dead soon. It really doesn't matter anymore. There's zero pressure. It's not pressure. It's an opportunity. Guys, can we compare both Mayo and Mazzulla for a minute here? Is it okay if we do that? Because one guy calls the team soft with zero power. Zero power. And then the other guy, well, he really doesn't have bosses this year, does he? Celtics ownership, right? Isn't the team for sale? And who knows? Brad Stevens already signed everybody. So one guy isn't afraid of anything, and we're going to die soon, while the other guy calls everybody soft. I mean, we're on two different planets. The worst team in the NFL, the best team in the NBA. It's just two total opposites.
The one part that really sticks out to me in that Mazzulla clip, too, is where he talks about everybody's expectations of you, like speaking about the team, how people view the team, and he says, if everybody expected me to lose all the time, I'd be pissed. He's gotten that into their head where everybody expecting you to win all the time is a good thing. And I think that's something the Celtics have struggled with the last few years is, the quote-unquote, the narrative, the chronicle, Joe, that this team should win. And that was almost a burden for them. Mazzulla's kind of flipped that on its head where it's a good thing that everyone expects you to win. You're that good. This team is that good. That is the expectation. I expect the Celtics to repeat this year. You expect the Celtics to repeat this year. And the Celtics should feel that way. They are the best team in the league. So you don't want somebody coming up to you after a game being like, oh, wow, really expected you to lose this one tonight. I'm kind of shocked you won. That's the difference in Mazzulla, how he translates to the players. I think he's done an incredible job of just finding those little things that used to be this team's crutches, and now that he uses them as motivation and, just the Mazzulla-isms we've grown to call them, where his little mental games that work on these guys.
I try to relate things by things that happen in life or being in the office or even the Mighty Ducks for that matter. Joe Mazzulla, he brings up life situations. And I'll tell you, I had a coach once who we used to play baseball, Skaz, and there'd be, runners on first and second and a ground ball to first base. And you'd get the ball and he'd be like, time out. What are you going to do? And it's like the decisions you make impact the game. Also, those same decisions impact your life. And I think Joe Mazzulla has found a way to relate that to his players. But this is another one that got me today. Joe Mazzulla explained why he doesn't feel pressure from the Boston media. You got that one too, Scott? Let's hear this one.
I just don't look at it as pressure. Because, a Boston media member or somebody expecting me to win, they don't have a weapon. They're not going to, come after me if we don't win. They're saying words. So, they don't mean anything. They're just words. You're just saying them because you have to say them. You're contractually obligated to write a 500-page article or word article after. They're just words. You can't do anything. And so it's just a made-up word. We don't have a pressure. If we lose, we're not losing our life. We're not surgeons. We're not, in the military, we coach basketball for a living. And no one's putting more pressure and expectations than we are on ourselves. And it's we have a responsibility and we have an ownership. And I ask guys all the time, would you rather have someone expect you to lose or win? If you came up to me and be like, man, I really expected you to lose that game, I would be pissed. But it's like, you come up to me like, you should have won that game. It's like, yeah, that's what we signed up for, you know? So I think it's just the perspective of how you look at it and, like, the truth of it, you know?
But words have power. Words.
No, they don't if you let them. Like, if you allow words to take your personal power, then yes. So I don't allow words to take my personal power. And, like, that's just important. Like, words don't have, they only have power if you allow them to. And, like, that's what I try to teach my kids. What someone says to you, like, did you allow that to have an impact on you? Like, he didn't put his hands on you, he didn't touch you, he didn't, like, do anything, he said something to you. So now you have a choice to, like, decide how you're going to interpret that. So, like, it's not pressure. There's nothing anyone in this circle can do to me that's going to impact my identity and who I am as a person. Like, we're either going to win or we're not, and 40 years from now, none of you are invited to my funeral, and that's it.
I feel like that when I get into an argument with people here at the Sports Hub. Like, it's just sports, man. It's just sports. You have an agreement. I have an agreement. You feel how you feel. I feel how I feel. I'm not going to take it outside the building unless you want to. It's happened before. Not with me, but I've seen it happen before. That's how I feel about the business, yes. You might not like what I have to say. I might not like what you have to say, but I'm not going to hate you when we leave tonight. It's just words, bro. That would hit. You know what, dude? He's starting to hit me. He's starting to hit me now, like in my heart. I now got feels for Missoula. I'm starting to feel him. But again, that's who you want to play for, right? You want to play for guys like that because you'll run through a wall for them. Right now, I think the Celtics have taken the identity of their coach, and it's going to lead them to back-to-back championships. All right, we went a little late there. I apologize. We got in or out. We'll do that at the top of the hour. We have Brian Robb from Mass Live. B-Rob's going to join us. We'll do a season preview for the Boston Celtics. I see a lot of you guys lined up on the phone lines. We're going to try to get you as soon as we can. And this final hour of the Sports Hub, well, not the final hour, but this hour of the Sports Hub has been brought to you by Valvoline Instant Oil Change. Nope, sorry, Drains by James. Eastern Mass's leader in drain cleaning and pipelining. Drains by James. Slow drain, clog drain. You need to contact Drains by James today at drainsbyjames.com. I'm Joe Murray, and next, it's In or Out.
What's it gonna be, McFly? Are you in or out?
More Joe Murray coming.
Right now, 4.5-point favorites, total 50.5. The other game tonight, Chargers, they head to Arizona. Cardinals, 1-point underdogs, total 44.5. The Patriots open up the season tomorrow night. They'll raise the banner against the New York Knicks. Headlines are brought to you by Valvoline Instant Oil Change. Enjoy quick and convenient vehicle maintenance this month. Visit NewEnglandOilChange.com for 15% off your next drive-through oil change. At Valvoline Instant Oil Change, now open in Franklin, Billerica, and Peabody. I'm Joe Murray. Your next update in 30 minutes.
New England plays here.
Down the right side, there's a separation. Yes. Touchdown pass. Yes. Perfect dive from Drake May.
98.5, the Sports Hub.
Are you in or out? Gotta know without a doubt. I'm the one you need for a dirty deed. I'm the best. Success is guaranteed.
Of what the rule is, I
Didn't
don't
that
care.
happen in a finals game this year where they just gave up late?
It's happened plenty of times in the playoffs where guys just don't shoot at all at the end of quarter, and I don't get it. I get it's like a contract thing. Teams are going to be looking at your shooting percentage, but you should be always shooting at the end of a half. So I guess if this encourages it, I'm for it, but the rule shouldn't need to exist. We'll stick with the NBA. Anthony Edwards made some small waves this weekend when Anthony Edwards said that if he wins a ring in the next 4 to 5 years, he would like to head to the NFL. Joe Murray, are you in or out on Anthony Edwards to the NFL?
Imagine if I called Anthony Edwards soft. What would he do? May I just say off the bat, I think LeBron James would be an amazing tight end in the NFL. I think when you're a great athlete, you're good at anything. I truly believe that. And guys, I know that like Michael Jordan, people want to look at, was the greatest basketball player of all time. He played double-A professional baseball, and at the end, they actually thought he was getting better. So do I put Michael Jordan as like am I using a bad example there? Maybe. But like Danny Ainge played baseball, Tom Glavine played hockey. Like there were a lot of Tony Gonzalez was a hell of a basketball player and could have played basketball if he wanted to. So if Anthony Edwards says he could have played fullback at the next level or linebacker, I'm in. But you train for basketball differently than football. So I'm in. But at the same time, he ain't leaving all that money in the NBA to go play some football. Are you kidding me? Out.
Way too much money in the NBA. Joe, it is.
Wait, by the way, if I could be a backup big man for 10 years and then like Scott Pollard, in.
Survivor legend, Scott Pollard.
Like who else? Oh, really? No. Who's like a guy? Juwan Howard. How many years did he play for the Heat?
How about the guy that sat on the end of the Heat's bench forever there?
Udonis Haslem.
Yeah, there you go. There's a guy who just made $3 million a year for 20 years riding the end of the bench.
In.
It's almost as good as being a backup quarterback.
Oh, give me all in.
All right, Joe, it is Halloween season and Thanksgiving rapidly approaching. So we're going to get some couple food items. It wouldn't be a Joe Murray in or out without some food. M&M's have announced they're releasing pumpkin pie M&M's. Joe Murray, are you in or out on pumpkin pie M&M's?
Okay, so M&M, I don't care the color, you just eat it. Back in my day.
I like stories.
Well, Tony Soprano says that talking about the old back in the day is like the worst type of conversation. I'm sure everyone's got a story about back in the day, Halloween. But going to those rich neighborhoods, man, get them good cookies.
Always.
You get them, yeah, right? Instead of good and plenty, you got like some real good. Healthiest candy, though, huh? I'm going to say out, but I need to think about that one for a little bit.
All right, Joe, this one is a little early, but I think it was put in Slack 3 times over the weekend, so we have to get to it. And that is that DiGiorno is bringing back a limited edition pizza. They're bringing back their Thanksgiving pizza. It is roasted turkey, green beans, dried cranberries, and a little bit of onion strings on top, it looks like. Joe Murray, are you in or out on DiGiorno's Thanksgiving pizza?
In. Who's out on a gobbler? You've had a gobbler calzone?
There's a drop.
No, for real. You've had a gobbler calzone. Turkey. Stuffing. Potato.
Take a quick peek at the chat, Joe.
What's everybody saying in there?
Maybe the most outs I've ever seen in a row.
Everyone's out on the Thanksgiving Thanksgiving pizza?
Like 100 outs in a row.
Wow. Smitty's out, huh? David? Kendo? Ryan? Daniel? Somebody says we cannot hear what Joe is saying. I am out on a lot of things, but I am in on a gobbler. Oh, dude. Lambert's, they make this Thanksgiving gobbler in a calzone, and they give you gravy on the side to pour over your calzone. Oh! And then you fork and knife it the rest of the way. And then, not to mention, I went down to Pizzy Farms in Waltham. Shout out to them, Rick. They have a gobbler sub right now that you can get with cranberry sauce, stuffing, turkey. It's good, man. They also make a gobbler wrap. So putting the gobbler on a pizza, why not? You know what JP from NP has told me? Gobbler on nachos day after. Wow, I'm throwing the Boston accent around tonight. Huh?
I think I can get behind that. That seems...
So you get nachos,
yeah,
right?
You got the leftovers. Why not?
Pour turkey. Okay, so ready for those pen and paper for all those who were checking. You get nachos, right, on a plate. Probably put some cheddar cheese, put some cheese on it first. Any kind of cheese, all right? So you got your chips, your cheese. Now you drop some turkey on that bad boy, right? Now you drop your stuffing in there. Your cranberry. You want to drop some potato in there too? Want some potato? Bing, bang, boom, boom, boom. Now, I don't know if you put the gravy in first. What do? Do you gravy after? Do you heat up the gravy? Do you put it on the stove? Or do you put it on before? What do you put it on after? I don't know. How do you do the cranberry? Does cranberry go on after, or do you cook? What do? Do you put the cranberry in the oven, or do you want cold cranberry? I don't know. Guys, I like canned cranberry. So, do I put the cranberry on in the oven, or do I do it after? Do I do the gravy and the cranberry together after? I don't know. Leftover Thanksgiving, elite leftover. Do we have to do leftover tiers now?
Sounds like an article.
All right, what else we got? Anything else tonight?
We got.
Who wouldn't be in on this pizza with the gobbler?
Apparently, our entire chat, Joe.
See, don't knock things until you try it.
I think that'll wrap up our Monday. We got a couple more. We'll save them. We have, I believe, full show Wednesday, Friday this week, if I'm correct.
We have a live show on Friday?
Full show. I could be wrong, but I think Wednesday, Friday. I believe the Bruins and Celtics play Tuesday, Thursday.
See, everyone's anticipating how to eat this turkey and this gobbler. Hey, Skaz, in or out on, do you need to have turkey on Thanksgiving?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep, 100% yep. I mean, it's Thanksgiving.
Show the intern. Thumbs up or down. Do you need to have turkey on Thanksgiving?
I'm fine. I know people that don't like turkey. That's fine, but...
Matt McCarthy
is a big one.
He's a hater of turkey, though.
He's a hater of birds, I think, in general.
Probably. But here's the deal. I like turkey. I love to eat turkey.
How did I know that's where we were going?
Love turkey for me, turkey for you. Let's air fry my turkey and my big brown chew. But I don't need it on Thanksgiving. You think about Brian Robb. Do you think he likes turkey on Thanksgiving?
I think B-Rob's a turkey guy.
Do the Celtics play on Thanksgiving?
I know they play on Christmas. I'm unsure of Thanksgiving.
Well, now I got to go look it up now. We'll talk to Brian Robb, Celtics preview next on the Sports Hub.
Don't go anywhere. There's more Joe Murray. On the way on
back here, 98.5 The Sports Hub. I'm Joe Murray. I apologize for those that couldn't get on the line tonight, but I'm not sorry. Got the opening night of the Celtics tomorrow. I'm trying to get some swag. They made these pre-rolls, and they sold out in minutes. You should go check them out, but they look cool. And now there's all these like replica ring things and these jerseys and what all these things are going to look like. And I don't know what to believe, but one man may know. His name is Brian Robb. He is from Mass Live. B-Rob, how you doing, bro?
I'm good, man. I can't believe it's here.
I can't.
Feel like you just left.
Yeah, I mean, let's talk about that. The team won a championship. A lot happened in the offseason. There's no doubt about that. But here we are now, the Celtics about to open the season at home versus the New York Knicks. I don't think that they'll, get complacent or anything like that. Obviously, we'll get into what the coach said today, but is there anything to be worried about this year? Complacency, injury, anything like that with this team?
Nothing beyond injury. I mean, the vibe, like you said, a lot happened over the summer. But as far as this team, this group together, they're pretty much in better shape than the rest of the Eastern Conference for sure already when you look at injuries and just guys getting integrated into the lineup after big offseason moves elsewhere. Whereas this team, Porzingis is out, but we know already last year, I think they were something like 31-8 or some ridiculous record without him on the court. And so him not being there for the first 2 months of the season is honestly not that big of a deal as long as, Luke Cornett and Xavier Tillman and those guys do the job admirably off the bench. So when you look at the fact that Tatum, Jaylen Brown, even the bench guys, Hauser, Pritchard, Derek White, those guys are on the upward trajectory of their career, Joe. It feels like even a little bit different than we all know how the 2009 team came out like gangbusters, but now you're looking with this roster, it's like the best players on this team should just be getting better for the most part, whereas that group was, they were at the very tail end of their prime, if that. So it's, I expect a pretty strong start out of the gate here.
Obviously, Al Horford played the one preseason game. How do the Celtics plan on their starting lineup with no Kristaps Porzingis? Obviously, you would think Al Horford would just start right away, but is there a chance Luke Cornett could be the opening night starter, and Al Horford comes off the bench?
I'd be stunned if that's the choice at this point, Joe. We know, I think Cornett's definitely going to start when Al has his nights off and backs to back. But I still think Al obviously is the best center on this team when Porzingis is out by a lot. And yeah, they're going to certainly try to keep his minutes down. Could it be easier to do that with him coming off the bench? Potentially, but you also want him for those matchups. You want him to face Embiid and face Karl Anthony Towns and just be out there. You just want him playing 25 minutes for those games. So I think that they're going to play him. They're going to pull him early in the first quarter and the third quarter to keep those minutes down. And we're going to see Cornett. I think we're going to see a lot of Tillman. But I just don't think we're going to get out of the gate because Horford is still a prideful guy, and he was willing to sacrifice last year, obviously, to make way for Porzingis in the starting five. But I still think with him out of the lineup, it'd be tough to say, hey, Al, we need to sit for Luke Cornett just because we want to keep your minutes down. And I think he wants to start, and I think my guess is they want to respect that.
Is it banner 19 or bust for this team?
Of course. They're heavy favorites, Joe, and they should be. But there is a very, a potential finite window right now of this very loaded group. You brought 13 guys back. Other teams around the Eastern Conference are already, trying to add a lot of bodies to take a good shot at you, which they did successfully in Philly and in New York. But you're still, pound around up and down the roster, you're still easily the best group. And you're probably not going to have this group together beyond this season. So the sense of urgency is there now, and they know that no team has repeated in 6 years now. It would be a very big deal for them to pull that off. It would put them down in a special place. And Celtics history and to a lesser degree NBA history. So I think they're motivated and ready to go, and everything's kind of lined up in place, and it's all going to come down to, I think, injuries and what does Porzingis looks like when he comes back. Can Al Horford stay on the floor? Can Drew Holiday avoid drop-off in his later 30s? And if those guys are up to the task, then it's going to be very tough to take this team down.
Talking about Brian Robb, writes over at Mass Live. You guys do a great job sports-wise, but also when it comes to basketball. Joe Mazzulla spoke today. We love the quote. We might play it every single night now. But does Joe Mazzulla feel any pressure heading into the season? Zero, no pressure. We're all going to be dead soon. Really doesn't matter. You're either going to win or you're not. I feel like it's like Ivan Drago from Rocky IV.
Yeah, listen, it's at this point with Joe, it's all working right now for him. So based off of last year, and you never know where you're going to get in a Joe press conference at this point. And that is, but yeah, I think team-wide, Joe, not even with Mazzulla there, but like, I think it is a looser group this year as a whole. I think this group was carrying a pretty heavy burden heading into last year, just with Tatum and Brown, with the history of how many times they'd come up short, and knowing that, this is the window was potentially closing on them to keep this group together if they couldn't get it done last year. But now they did. Now I think they have a confidence boost for them doing it. And the fact that they are back together, the continuity, everything is in place, pretty much top to bottom in the rotation. So that certainly has Joe feeling and coaching free. I think the same is going to go for the players. And I think that bodes well for this team coming out of the gate, because they have the schedule is really not that bad, Joe. So they have a chance to come out here and put some distance between them and the pack, as a lot of other teams deal with injuries. Yeah, I mean, that's the best part of the whole Porzingis injury, right, is just I hate to say it, but their NBA schedule right now it's a layup early on. They can take back-to-backs off if they want. And that was another thing I wanted to mention. I watch, I know you got your Still Potable, right? And I see Kevin Garnett does his with the Truth, Ticket and the Truth. He was not a fan of Joel Embiid saying that he won't play back-to-backs anymore. What's your, what's the B-Rob tiers of teams that you think give the Celtics the biggest fits this year in the Eastern Conference? I think the Knicks are going to be right there, just because they have, I think they're most well-equipped to throw guys at Tatum and Brown defensively, and I think that's the one area where you can, go toe-to-toe with them, and if you neutralize those guys, then you have a chance with the supporting cast. But they're certainly thin in the middle, so I put them right there. Right below them, I'd probably put Philly and Milwaukee, even though with Milwaukee now, John, this Chris Middleton situation with his injuries is never ending with them right now. So it's like if he's still not good to go after 4 months off, I don't know what you can really expect from him in a full-year campaign right now. And then below that, you got the up-and-comers like Orlando, Indiana, Cleveland to a lesser degree. But I do think that particularly with in Cleveland, they have a lot of continuity there, and a new coach in Kenny Atkinson who has a pretty good track record of bringing the best out of teams back in Brooklyn. So it wouldn't surprise me to see one of those teams leapfrog to 2, 3, 4 seed in the Eastern Conference. So it's going to be a tougher conference, no doubt. Tough. The road will not be as easy as this year for the Celtics. But with that said, I still think a lot has to go wrong for the Celtics for them not to get the job done this year.
All right, Bureau, what are we expecting tomorrow night? I've heard some things. I don't know what to believe. Have you guys been given anything ahead of time? When should fans get in there tomorrow? What should be the expectation? It should be a memorable night, right? 18 banners. I think we all remember banner nights from years past, at least if you're old enough. What should Celtics fans expect for tomorrow night?
Yeah, I'm told you got to definitely get in the building early. It sounds like they want people in their seats by 6:45, with the ceremony starting at 7 p.m. Nice early tip time, 7:35, Joe, for people just wanting to watch the game. But I expect it sounds like a lot of the 08 contingent will be in the house for
Kendrick Perkins.
Kendrick Perkins. That's the big question. That's the wild card one. Maybe he'll be in the building for ESPN, but not officially. But no, that'll be fascinating to see if he's part of that contingent. But KG, Pierce, obviously a lot of guys that are regularly around the team, Eddie Howe, Scal, etc. Leon Poe will certainly be part of it, and then some Celtics legends as well. So it should be a really fun night. I imagine the basketball will be a bit of a mess afterwards, kind of like it was in 2008 when they played the Cavs out on ring night. So, but it should be a pretty memorable night. 16 years in the making, obviously a pretty special night for guys like Al Horford and Tatum and Brown who have come so far with this team. So it should be to get in there early and soak it up for your Celtics fan.
You think Stephen A. and Jaylen Brown are going to start a new podcast called State Your Sources?
Right? I mean, Jaylen was leaning into that today. So
you hear anything on this yet?
Well, he was coming by. I was actually in the practice facility today when Stephen A. was coming around, making his round, saying hi to everyone. But we didn't know at that point that he was sitting down with Jaylen for the interview. But it certainly seems like, I think that's going to drop. That might even drop during your show tonight, Joe, so you might be able to react live on air to it. But I imagine both those guys got a lot off their chest, and that'll be a fun thing to go into heading into tomorrow night.
One thing I like about this whole offseason is I do feel like they put closure on everything, right? Like the Stephen A. thing's now closed, right? The Olympic thing is closed. Now, Brad Stevens' birthday is tomorrow, right? Like they all celebrate. Jaylen Brown, they all celebrated their birthdays on the tall ship today, right? Like it's all closed now. It's business the rest of the way here. And, I just wanted to throw something at you because we've been talking about Gerard Mayo a lot tonight and how he has called the team soft. And I just remember Ime Udoka did that in his first season.
Yes.
I just got to ask.
He did it out of the gate. It was like
I was going to ask
the third game or something like that.
What's in your opinion, just on a hot take, what's the difference here between what Mayo did and what Udoka did?
Well, I think Ime has a lot better players.
Yeah.
So I think it's certainly easier to call that group out because this is a group. That group really wanted Ime to be their coach. They wanted hard coaching.
Yep.
And I think they wanted someone to challenge them like that because I don't think Brad was that type of coach where he would, hang him up in the media. With Mayo, I mean, the situation there is like this is a kind of a team that clearly doesn't have the horses and lost some guys during injuries, and you can call them soft, but like the Celtics had certainly the talent to back it up or to respond to that, and we'll find out if the Pats do, but the answer might just go further the other way.
Yeah, the Celtics may have had that hiccup. Obviously, they forced the seventh game.
Right.
Obviously, Jason Tatum got hurt, and Jaylen Brown didn't get over the hump, right?
Right.
I think, and clearly now we know they needed that. They needed that. They got over it. They learned from it. I guess I'm trying to bring up to our listeners right now how far the Patriots are.
Yeah.
And how far the Celtics are. It's just like first-year coach calls out team he should have. When Mayo does it, I think it's a detriment, and I now wonder if Ramondre Stevenson's foot is like, oh, it's not feeling that good this week, coach.
Right.
Hey, Christian Gonzalez, my shoulder, man. Oh, it's just one's the best team in the NBA going to win back-to-back, and the other is going to be the worst team potentially in football in back-to-back years.
It's tough to kick them, but that team's down.
Hey, maybe you got a new article there.
There you go. I like that. We'll have to go back. We'll go side by side, Ime and Mayo's comments, and then we can go compare and contrast how
there you go.
Things happen the next couple weeks after there. So
thanks,
Joe.
Next
really
article.
Me out.
No, I'm in on that because we would then talk about it on the show.
Yeah,
that's what we do.
I will credit you. I'll give you full credit though.
We're content creators. That's what we do. We create content. It helps you. It helps us. We'll invite you on the collab. How about that?
I love it.
All right, B-Rob.
Great nighttime content as always on the Sports Hub.
You got it, man. Well, hey, we're going to be on until midnight tomorrow night. I know you'll be at the Guard working hard. Enjoy it. You deserve it too, my man. It was a long stretch for you, and it's been a long time for you as well. So enjoy the night. It's a new season, and we'll be talking to you all season long here on the Sports Hub, bud.
All right, thanks a lot, Joe. Appreciate it.
You got it. He's Brian Robb. Everybody check him out. Mass Live. They do an excellent job over there. I'm Joe Murray, and I don't know what we're doing next, but you know what? I feel like it's going to be good. And I'll get you the score in that football game.
Sports Hub headlines.
7-0 right now. back here, 98.5 The Sports Hub. I'm Joe Murray. I'm already thinking ahead to the 2025 Patriots. And I have come up with my Patriots coaching wish list. I've had enough. When it comes to what's being said from the Patriots, last week it was blaming Bill Belichick for the team's 1-5 start. So what was it over the weekend? Robert Kraft said something special is being built. That's what Kraft said to a crowd on Saturday night to Patriots fans in London before their 32-16 loss to the Jaguars. But what exactly is being built on the Patriots football team? Through 7 games, I wonder if some parts of the team make it through the rest of this season. This is a quote from Robert Kraft. I'll tell you, there's nothing more important to our family than winning football games. For the second straight season, the Patriots were embarrassing on an international stage. The team has lost 6 straight games for the first time since Kraft purchased the team. The message is clear. Kraft has to take ownership of being wrong hiring Robb Mayo. That's where I'm at. The message after the game was Robb Mayo saying we have a soft football team. A few players heard the comments and agreed. Others, well, they singled out their teammates while a few others went to social media to share their feelings. I didn't even mention what happened on the football field. The defense gave up over 170 yards on the ground for the third straight game. Special teams gave up a touchdown. All 3 phases of the game looked overmatched. This is a 1-5 football team, now 1-6 football team that lost to a team that was teetering. Instead, the Patriots were the get-right game for the Jaguars. Seems to be the common theme for this dysfunctional group. The New England football team's regressing. There is hardly anything built here. The team selected Drake May, who has, through 2 games, 5 touchdowns and 500 yards. The team also thought Jacoby Brissett was the better option coming out of camp. What pillars do the Patriots have that you want to build around? I'll give you Christian Gonzalez, I'll give you Christian Barmore, and I'll give you Michael Onwenu. Everyone else is replaceable. There are some that think that Robert Kraft will not move on from Robb Mayo after 1 year. If the Patriots want to show the fan base that they hate losing and are building something special, moving on and blowing things up, moving on from Robb Mayo would be the right move. Of course, Bill Belichick went 5-11 in his first year, and look what happened after that. Kraft has to admit that this was a mistake and build something by spending money and bringing in experienced coaching. The team's in a situation where they are no longer attracting talent. Elliott Wolf may also get dumped in the process, and he was a part of the team landing Alex Van Pelt because they didn't want to pay Nick Caley. Everyone else turned them down. Who would want to coach the New England Patriots right now? I have a few options, but I don't think Mayo should be back in 2025. It's not because it's his fault. It's because he has no control. And the team lacks leadership. So, you ready for this guess? Joe Murray's 2025 next Patriots coaching candidates. Let me say that again. Joe Murray's 2025 next Patriots head coaching candidates. So here's who I have. I think we all have like a wish list, right? Brian Johnson's going to go to a better team.
Ben Johnson.
What did I say, Brian? Oh, from AC/DC? I'm on a highway to hell. Ben Johnson. Imagine Brian Johnson being the coach. Yeah. Ben Johnson is going to go somewhere better. I'll give you a couple names. Kevin Stefanski. He'll be the fall guy in Cleveland. He helped build something in Cleveland. It's not his fault that they wanted to pay Deshaun Watson. Brian Flores. He knows the AFC East, part of multiple defensive Super Bowls. Cliff Kingsbury, look what he's doing right now with Jaden Daniels. By the way, he was drafted by the Patriots, huh? Wes Phillips, the offensive coordinator with the Vikings. Adam Stenovich, currently the offensive coordinator of the Packers. Hey, how about Deion Sanders? Can he actually coach? What about Kirby Smart? Would he ever leave Georgia for something like this? That's the wish list. What do I think the Crafts will do? Here are my names. Josh McDaniels. How many people just vomited? He was always thought to be the coach after Belichick. He'll be available. He's still getting paid from Vegas. He's the perfect option for the Crafts. Mike Vrabel. The fan base would be happy. He had issues with a GM that struggled offensively in Tennessee. The Crafts would love him. But I think he could get a better job than this. Brian Daboll would be interesting. He has to get fired first. Offensive-minded coach, was in New England, been in the college and NFL game. He really wanted Drake May. Here's my long shot. John Gruden. A Super Bowl winning coach that no one will hire. Struggled with full control of the Raiders and is out of the league now after what I called an email fiasco. It was way worse than that. It's just what I put to writing. The Crafts would still be involved, but he could be someone off the radar that could build a coaching staff and program. What's Joe Murray's pick? Dan Lanning, head coach, Oregon. He's already coached elite quarterbacks in Bo Nix, Dylan Gabriel. He's had one of the best offensive lines in the country, Skaz. The defense is good year in and year out. Would he leave the Ducks for this? And I'm comparing it to a move the Celtics did years ago with Brad Stevens. It's a guy who can build a program. Of course, this is my wishful thinking. End of article. Crap all over it, Skaz. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm out on John Gruden, and I'm out on Dan Lanning as well. Just the ultimate college football hardo, Dan Lanning. Good for him, but he is a linebacker he's a hype guy. I don't know. The Dan Lanning thing, I guess he's kind of we had the Ryan Day thing last year where his name was getting tossed around for NFL jobs. I guess it's just Dan Lanning's time, but if I was an NFL organization, he is not the gentleman I'd be handing the keys to. I'm not that big of a believer in Dan Lanning. He's done a fine job at Oregon, but the NFL is a different beast. And why I'm out on Gruden is just he's been away from the game for so long. I thought his second stint with the Raiders there was obviously a disaster. The risk reward for the Crafts, it's just not there with John Gruden. I think the good outweighs the bad in terms of, if it could go right. Yeah, maybe John Gruden has a little magic left, but the likelihood that it goes sideways is far higher.
I just want to explain why I came up with that answer. Nobody wants to come here. They're not going to pay anybody. Who wants to fix this? So I think that they have two options. You either go with a young guy that you still can control, or you go after someone that's won a championship before, that's built a program that nobody else wants. I think Stefanski would be really interesting. I don't think it's his fault in Cleveland. Daboll as well, believe it or not. But I think they would go with Josh McDaniels, dude. I really do. He's going to get paid from Vegas. They already know him. I think he was an awful coach. Twice.
I would rather have Gruden and Lanning than Josh McDaniels, if that's what we're doing. I'm out on. If you fire Belichick, why bring one of Belichick's guys back? It's just you're repeating your same. Like the Bill thing is what it is. Not even take Bill out of it. Why bring one of his guys back?
Okay, ready? Skaz, in or out? Kevin Stefanski.
In on Kevin Stefanski, 2-time Coach of the Year, took the Browns to the playoffs. That's legit. That's tangible.
In or out? Brian Flores.
I like Flores a lot. I think he's done great things with the Minnesota defense. I want someone that is more of an offensive mind with Drake May. If it was Flores, I'd be fine with it. I think Flores is a very good coach, but you're certainly not going to have a soft football team with Brian Flores. So maybe that is something they need, but he wouldn't be my number one.
In or out, Cliff Kingsbury?
Out, hard out.
Okay, and what about like Wes Phillips of the Vikings or Adam Stenavich?
So the one guy I want, you mentioned Ben Johnson. I think the other guy that should be at the top of a lot of these lists is Bobby Slowick. He is the Texans offensive coordinator. He's a guy that's name was kind of in the mix last year for some head coaching jobs. I think he's a guy that's right behind Ben Johnson when it comes to these young, innovative minds.
But aren't there better jobs? Dallas, Philly, Jacksonville.
I think Dallas is going after bigger fish than Bobby Slowick. So maybe that's where you have an opportunity. You call Scott Pioli, you beg Scott Pioli to put in a good word for the organization. I don't know if Scott Pioli is going to do that, but a guy like Bobby Slowick, who's an offensive mind, younger guy, that's the direction I would like to see them head.
Mike Vrabel?
Out on Mike Vrabel.
And Josh McDaniels, you're out.
Very, very out.
And Brian Daboll?
The Daboll thing, I get it. He did great things with Josh Allen as an assistant. I'm not sold on the Brian Daboll head coach experience.
The Vrabel thing, I agree with you. I think if the fans would be happy, it would look good. Hard-nosed guy, right? What did he really do? He had conflicts with the general manager. If it's going to be collaborative, you're going to give Mike Vrabel control?
Yeah, and the thing with Vrabel is the Titans got worse the longer he was there. They were a better team his first couple years. The more control he got, the more, his fingers were in the pie. The longer he was there, the Titans got worse, and that's the biggest indictment you can have on a head coach.
I asked a lot of personalities at this station today. Every one of them said Vrabel.
Because it's easy.
Yep.
It's plug and play, allegedly. That's what people want to think. That's what the fan wants to think. Oh, Mike Vrabel, he played here. He was great.
Hard-nosed guy.
Doesn't mean anything.
Mm-hmm.
His team got worse.
Playoff game. Yep, one playoff game, and they got worse, and they let go of Derrick Henry. So completely out on Josh McDaniels, huh?
Yeah, I've seen the Josh McDaniels head coaching experience. It was awful. I don't need to relive that. Look at the Broncos. Look at the Raiders. No, thank you.
Okay. All right, well, that article is up over at 985thesportshub.com. I wish we did that earlier tonight, but you know what? We'll get the musings on the other side. Let's do it next here on the Sports Hub.
More Joe Murray coming up on the Sports Hub.
want a random take? Murray's got all sorts on stuff in the world unrelated to sports. So sit back, relax, and get your mind in the game and listen to the words of a grown man complaining.
All right, Murray's Musings, October 21st, 2024. I'm all thrown off by the London game yesterday. 9:30 kickoffs. In or out, Skaz, on the 9:30 kickoff?
For a product like that, Joe, I'm in. Get it out of the way. I don't want to be subject to watching that any later in the day than I have to. And then you got to watch real football at 1 o'clock.
You did.
A lot of good football games at 1 o'clock yesterday.
I was doing post-game crushing Mayo. And I watched a little bit of the Chiefs-49ers game, but my nap was very important to me.
That game was ugly, too. Mahomes and Purdy both with 2 picks early in that game, I think. It was, not this year, Joe, but in years past. I'm not driving up to the Kangamangas or anything, but I like the foliage.
Sometimes I'll catch some bears.
The bear?
I catch a bear with a cub. All right, well, I saw this story over the weekend, and, I threw it in Slack, and here we are.
I believe this story started our Slack channel on Saturday afternoon, so I knew it was a good one. When Joe's tossing stuff into Slack on Saturday afternoon, you know it's going to be good.
So I'll read the headline for everybody here. A man put on probation for sneaking into neighbors' homes to smell their shoes. Now everybody knows I'm a sniffer. I don't think I've ever sniffed anyone's shoes before.
You're a food sniffer.
I mean, I let's just say this. It's not like I pick up a marker and I sniff it. Actually, sometimes when I break open some cards, like let's say I just got like a hobby pack or like a blaster, I'll sniff the box, Anyways, a man was put on probation for sneaking into his neighbors' homes for smelling their shoes. He wanted to put himself in their shoes, literally. A man in Greece was given a suspended 1-month prison sentence for sneaking into neighbors' houses, smelling their shoes. It was a 28-year-old sniffer.
That's my favorite part of the article is it just says, the 28-year-old sniffer.
He couldn't explain his foot fetish and was, in essence, put on probation and ordered to seek therapy. He went on to explain that the unusual act did cause him plenty of embarrassment, and it was not his intention to harm anyone or break the law. Neighbors testified to the fact that he never showed any signs of hostile behavior. That's how you know you got to be scared. It's like it's like, no, I just want to smell the shoes.
That almost freaks me out more.
Can I tell you something? This has happened to me before. Not the shoes.
I was going to say, Joe. I should have let off the show with that.
One time I was breaking down a box. I was in working for a company, and we got new furniture for like chairs and stuff. So when you take it out, it has, the bubble wrap. Well, I left the bubble wrap kind of in the middle of the hallway and the suite we were in. And this guy from another office was like, "Hey, do you mind if I pop the bubble wrap?" And I was like, "What?" He goes, "Yeah, I want to pop the bubble wrap." So what do you say? Yeah, man, have at it, Haas.
It's not hurting anybody.
So he just stood there while I was making a chair. I was putting a chair in, an office chair. And he's just popping the bubble wrap. And I didn't think anything of it at first. I was like, all right, well, he just wants to pop bubble wrap. But then I was like, this is weird. Anyways, back to the story. The proprietor was arrested 9 miles west of Thessaloniki in northern Greece on the early morning of October 8th. A neighbor who had left his family's shoes outside the house. Sorry, let me say that again. A neighbor who had left his family's shoes outside of his house so they could air out found the man sniffing them. This wasn't the first time he had been caught in the act. In the past 6 months, 3 similar incidents occurred, even though neighbors had asked the man's family to intervene and get him to stop sniffing their footwear. The man was placed on probation. So, I'm a sniffer, but I don't really sniff shoes, bro. So, have you ever put your sneakers in the freezer?
I'm sorry?
Have you ever put your sneakers in the freezer?
No, I've never put my sneakers in the freezer.
So, I'm a man, I think, that does get smelly feet. Like, sometimes you got to change your sneakers. You know what I'm saying? You got to just, you've been wearing them. You got to change it up every once in a while so they don't go defunct. I actually sometimes think odor eater ruins your sneaker. Once you put that powder in there, it never smells the same. So wait, you've never frozen your sneaker before?
I didn't even know that was a thing.
Google it.
I didn't know anyone had ever frozen their sneaker before.
Has anyone in the chat ever frozen a sneaker before? Riz, what, Joe? Yes. Freeze your sneakers. I'm just going to type in freeze sneakers in Google. What pops up?
Oh, it says putting your shoes in the freezer is a highly effective way to kill the bacteria that causes shoe odors. The bacteria is no match for the extreme cold. I had never heard of this, Joe. Thankfully, my feet are not that stinky, I guess, that I have not investigated the shoe freezer.
Take it from a sniffer.
Hey, you're an expert.
Imagine going on probation and potentially going to jail for sniffing.
I'm imagining walking into someone's house and opening their freezer and seeing a pair of sneakers for the first time.
Now, don't get me wrong. Are there some... oh, God. See, I feel like there are some things I could talk about on the morning show that I can't talk about on the night show. Like I said, whenever I worked with Fred, all things were on the table. I feel like they're a little... because we are in the safe harbor, are we yet? No, I just feel like maybe there's a time and a place for everything, But, if a man is walking into a woman's house to smell her underwear, that's one thing, right? That's creepy. That's offendable. That's probationable. Sniffing sneakers? You're just down with the sickness.
Safe harbor is 10 p.m. I believe,
okay,
Joe,
we're not there yet. We're not there
quite there yet.
No, for real. Underwear sniffer, out. Jock sniffer, out. Just don't mix, Riz. My ex-fiance put her shoes in the freezer. We were supposed to get married, but then she got cold feet. Ah! Big Joe. Tommy called our old friend today. I saw that, actually. I'm not down with the sniffness. Wah! Come on, get down with the sniffness.
I saw the luchador sending you some food on Twitter earlier today, it looked like.
Wait, Ryan got a probation from smelling a shoe once? And you're the same guy that dates your friend's stepmom or something like that?
Not touching that one.
Riz, leave them outside of the winter. Yes. Hey, what do we got for birthdays today, Skaz? Let's start it off with we'll go age first. Judge Judy Shinan, 89 years old today. Actor Ken Watanabe. Who?
Judge Judy, 82.
Oh, yes, 82. Sorry.
80. I mean, either way, very impressive. She's still going, but yes.
Actor Andrew Scott, 48 years old today. Kim Kardashian, 44 years old today. So I'm in on Kim. I watched the shows. I've watched Keeping Up with the Kardashians, and I've watched all her lovers. I mean, she's just a caring nurturer. Down with the stiffness. Come on, get down with the stiffness. Who else birthday we have today? Let's see.
Did you say Carrie Fisher?
I did not say. Rest in peace.
Rest in peace. It is the legend Carrie Fisher's birthday today.
Your boy Glenn Powell, 36 years old today.
Very handsome.
Natasha Bassett, 32 years old today. And Doja Cat, 29.
Joe, it is also your guy, Kane Brown's 31st birthday today. Little, Joey Murr's summer hits.
He's the guy that says, we can break it in if you know what I mean. Put some miles on it. Back of the Chevy with the engine running. Just you and me sniffing shoes in the back like a... Sorry.
There you go. Joey Murr's summer hits. Another one, though, Joe. It is the USS Constitution's 227th birthday today. It launched into Boston Harbor 227 years ago today. Went for a little birthday cruise earlier today. I saw some pictures around Boston Harbor.
Tall ship. Model Amber Rose. You know her?
I believe she was married to Kanye for a short period there.
She's 41 years old today. Isn't it funny we know everybody's wives? Or celebrity people's romances? Why? Like, I could tell you where a guy went to college, how much money he makes, but I can't tell you, some other things.
You see, Bill Belichick was apple picking this past weekend. I don't know if you saw that. Little pumpkin patch for Belichick.
Little pumpkin patch. Does he like apple cider donuts?
My only question on that is, how do Bill's kids feel seeing him doing all these fun fall activities that I'm sure he wasn't around for earlier?
High five, Dad. Maybe she smells his shoes. I wonder
Joe, very important birthday today. On this day in 1969, one Mo Lewis was born.
Oh, wow. That's that we should celebrate.
A man that changed everything for the New England Patriots.
Einbein's talking about his prosthetic leg. Does it smell? Do you sniff that? What are things that you sniff? Tennis balls, right?
Candles.
Oh, yeah. I'm a sniffer of candles for sure.
Spices, I think, is a big one.
Why did I say tennis balls right away? Because when I was a kid...
Oh, fresh pack of tennis balls?
I would always smell.
Absolutely.
Let's see. Oh, I love the smell of buffalo sauce. Get those sinuses going right away. Anyways, we can do that in the final hour of the show if you want. Anything else tonight?
Former Patriot Jalen Reagor just fumbled out of the back of the end zone, it looks like. Yeah, my musing for tonight, Joe, is that the Cardinals-Chargers game is only available on ESPN+. I don't want to go all Mike Felger on the streaming services and stuff, but a Monday night football game should never, ever be on ESPN+. That's offensive to me. Out.
So that's why I can't find the game, right? Well, this is the time where I would troll Jalen Reagor at the special premiere of the documentary of the 04 Red Sox today.
You think he talked?
Oh, Linda, popcorn. Make sure not to put the butter on too much with my fingers. Oh, I'd smell that popcorn. That's something you sniff right there. Linda. Unfortunately, I don't do a good John Henry. I know someone who can do a good John Henry. I feel bad that Ralph and Cranston's been waiting so long. I'm going to take him. Hi, Ralph. How are you doing?
Joe, I've never been more happier to wait for a show. Your show is amazing.
What's something you sniff? Ralph, what's something you sniff?
In all honesty, basil, stuff like that makes it smell good. But Joe, I'm an investigator. I have to ask. First of all, I hope the sniffer was sniffing female shoes. I'm old school.
I don't know. They had the families, the kids out there too.
But what did he get charged with? Indecent inhaling?
I actually don't know.
I mean, trespassing, probably.
Trespassing.
You just knocked me off everything I was going to say.
Yeah. I stumped the investigator?
Even the shoes. I've never heard of shoes.
Were they Nikes?
I've never heard of shoes in a microwave. I mean, I'm sure there's somebody out there that puts their sneakers in the microwave. Now, I'm very cautious of that, but I've never tried it. Who knows? The only thing is with me, I'd probably have my in-laws over someday, and they'd open up the freezer. Well, that's just my husband's shoes. Don't worry about it. But anyway, I just wanted to mention the World Series, Yankees and Dodgers. That was a gift to baseball. I mean, that's what they need. That's really what this sport needs. But, Joe, I am such a diehard Red Sox fan, and I am rooting so hard for the Yankees. I want this team, this Red Sox team, to realize, you know what, maybe you have to change your philosophy and stop running this team and not getting some decent free agents in here because they're too expensive. And the Yankee fans, they'll be laughing at this team, and they were so embarrassed by home games where so many of the visiting fans are loading up our park. Yeah, you got Yankee fans, you got Mets fans, you got Dodger fans, Houston fans. So that's why I'm hoping the Yankees win, and the Red Sox can just be ridiculed a little more than they are, because this is ridiculous. We are, what are we, the 11th payroll now, and it's going down and further down. And now, and Joe, we remember a time when you spent a lot of money on free agents. It didn't work out, and people would say that's not the way to build a team. But lately, the teams that are winning have the highest payrolls. So maybe that's changing a little bit. Philly, Houston, New York, Mets, too.
Thanks, Ralph. We're up against it. Sorry, bud. How do you feel about the Aaron Judge, Shohei Ohtani World Series finals, guys?
I agree that it's great for baseball. I was of the same mind as that caller for like a week, where I was of the Yankees winning is a good thing for the Red Sox. The Yankees winning could motivate John Henry. I've kind of, gone back and forth on it. I don't think it really matters. I think John Henry has told us as much by not telling us anything the last couple of years. He's an absent owner. He doesn't seem invested in the baseball team. He knows that the Pink Hats and fans that are not Red Sox fans are going to come to this ballpark and spend money anyways. So I want to believe that. I want to believe that the New York Yankees winning would motivate the Red Sox, but John Henry has done nothing for me to believe that is still the case, that this would be like, 2009 when they won, and then the 10 offseason class wasn't great, so they went crazy in 11, and obviously it backfired with, Adrian Gonzalez, and I believe that was Carl Crawford as well. But I think that's so far in the past that's just not how John Henry operates the Red Sox anymore. So I want to believe that, but I just don't think that's reality anymore for Red Sox fans. The Yankees could win in a sweep, and I don't think it affects what John Henry's going to do at all, unfortunately.
I love the smell of gas. Some people like to smell their own farts. All right, we got to go to break. I'm Joe Murray here at the Sports Hub.
Don't go anywhere. There's more Joe Murray. On the way on 98.
All right, back here 98.5, the Sports Hub. I'm Joe Martin. We were just talking about the shoe sniffer. I sniff before I eat. I don't sniff shoes before I put them on, but maybe I'll have to start watching people, you know. But the most common things that people sniff: glue, shoe polish, gasoline, spray paint, lighter fluid, paint thinner, whiteout, I already mentioned tennis balls. That was one thing that people sniff. Am I missing anything else? I mean, there's all sorts of drugs that I won't get into, but am I missing anything? Let's talk to Ein Bein from our YouTube chat. Hi, buddy.
Hey, Joe. How you doing, bud?
Do you ever sniff your leg?
So, yeah, well, I don't do it on purpose, but when I take off my prosthetic at night after a long day of sweating, I take off the liner, which is rubber. It kind of smells, it's not bad, but just has a distinct smell.
So it has a distinct smell.
Yeah. I think there's probably people that would get into that, because I know there's some weird people that are into amputees and stuff, so who knows?
Okay. What did I miss anything that people sniff? What's some other things people sniff?
Well,
I sniff peanut butter sometimes.
Oh, yeah, of course. Peanut butter's good. I don't know, like your dog's feet.
You sniff your dog's feet?
Well, no, my wife kind of likes the smell of the dog's paws. What can I say?
Wait, dogs' paws smell?
Yeah, they have like a distinct dog smell, but like their feet. It's not bad. It's kind of I don't know. Try it.
Wow. Okay, well, dog's feet. Thanks, buddy. You ever smelled dog's feet? You have a dog, right? Don't you?
I do have a dog. I can't say I've ever smelled its feet. Like a puppy. I know a puppy has like a distinct smell. I think people like that, but that's a new one to me. I don't know if I'm gonna go home and smells my dog's feet, but maybe I'll think about it at least.
Ooh, permanent marker. I love the smell of a permanent marker. That's a good one. I just smelled the microphone. Ooh, what about?
The only one I can really think of is like after it rains. Like that's a good smell.
Yeah, that's a good one. The other thing I wanted to mention was things that you smell. I just had one and it left my mind. Oh, I smell booze. I like to smell a bottle of booze before I drink it.
Well, Joe, just right up that alley. Your flower. I'm sure you're giving that a nice whiff.
Oh, I love the smell of marijuana. Like a big bag. Or like when you go to the dispensary and you just... Am I missing anything? Mike's in the car. Hi, Mike.
Joe, how are you?
I'm good.
Hey, very underrated sniff thing. In your car in traffic, and you fart, and you waft it up with your hands towards your face.
So I had friends who used to do that and then throw it in your face, and it would make me vomit.
Yeah, my brothers used to do it to me. They call it cup fart.
Yeah, we used to do the cup fart. You cover it, and then, it's bad.
The other thing they used to do to me, so my dad would have friends over back in the 80s. Friends would come over, random uncle or old-time friend would stop by, and they'd sit in, like, the formal living room. I don't think
dummy up. Oh, you said sit. I'm sorry. I thought you said something else.
Yeah, no.
Okay, yeah.
No. They'd, like, sit. Remember the formal living rooms back in the day? I don't think people even had them.
Yeah, like with the rug and the couches, and everyone sat together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This one guy would come over. He was massive, a big dude. He'd probably sit there, have a bunch of whiskeys, eat, and he was just crushing the chair, the oversized chair with farts. He'd leave, and my brothers would take me and stuff my head in the chair to make me smell it.
That's like, you ever watch WWE wrestling? The Nasty Boys? They used to do the armpit thing and smell his armpits.
All right, have a good night, man.
All right, Mike. Unfortunately, I feel like you and I grew up the same way with that one. Smelled a lot of farts in my lifetime that weren't my own.
There's another drop.
Paul's in Woburn. Hey, Paul.
Hey, what's up, Murray?
Hey.
I would say for the sniffers out there, crayons, candles, flowers, and incense would be okay to sniff.
Incense,
otherwise, you're kind of weird.
So the only reason why I didn't like incense is like some people tried to hide like the smell of marijuana, and it just made it worse. You know? Crayons, though. I love the smell of crayons.
Yeah, you get the 50 box, you get a nice assortment there.
Flowers make a room smell better. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, Paul. Appreciate you. You know what's a good smell, too? Like when a girl just did her hair. Just like... Just the smell of a hair. Smelled a lot of farts in my lifetime that weren't my own. Your hair is everywhere. Sniffing. James is in the car. Hello, James.
Joe, how's it going, bud?
How you doing?
We're doing good. Hey, just left my local rod and gun club where I play some beer league softball, and the smell of my leather glove just it does it for me. It smells awesome. Yeah. And for dog's paws, those little Frito scoops that you can use for like chili and stuff like that.
Yep.
That's what I get when I smell my dog's paws. It smells like that.
So you smell like Fritos. Somebody just tweeted me that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
All right, you played softball this time of year? Softball?
Yeah. We're finishing up our fall league.
What town?
Hubbardston, which is out in the boondocks.
Where the hell is Hubbardston?
Just south of Gardner, out on Route 2 West.
You're like Barry, Mass, kind of?
Yeah, absolutely. Just out that way.
I've been to Stone Cow. You ever been up there?
Oh, I love Stone Cow.
They still have that oven pizza set up out there?
Yeah, they do. Absolutely. Great pizza. Have it with some great beer. So
it's another thing I love, the smell.
Oh yeah,
wood fired.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Thank you.
Oh,
Jim.
absolutely.
Appreciate you. Tony, what's up, Tony?
Joe, laundry is a great smell. Right? When you get that smell of a fresh laundry, you walk by, you're working outside, you smell that dry event. Oh.
What to make you think of?
I don't know. An attractive woman doing a fresh load of laundry as I'm working outside of her house as the pool man.
Wait, you're a pool guy?
Yeah, I'm a pool man. Still working this time of year too.
Wow. Do you smell chlorine?
Yeah, but I guess I'm numb to it now. But when I smell laundry or I smell something fresh, it just sets me off.
I feel like I'm learning a lot tonight, Joe, from shoes in the freezer to the smell of fresh laundry. Really getting the people going.
The Patriots just had the worst loss in potentially their history of the franchise. And the Celtics are going to drop the banner tomorrow and go for banner 19.
Full phone lines on sniffing.
And this is what we're doing. And I get it. If you're a hater of this, I apologize. but I'm not sorry. I can't say that one. We got to go to break. I'm Joe Murray.
Sports Hub headlines.
17-10 Ravens at halftime right now. Lamar Jackson, 2 touchdown passes. Who do we got, though? We got any? Who did I take for touchdowns? Let's see. Justin. segment of the night here. We got a couple of sniffers still out there. Why don't we do some sniffing around? And then we'll tell you what we got going on the rest of this week here on the night show. Of course, Celtics open up tomorrow night. We're going to have it all for you guys. We're going to have the banner ceremony, everything will be on here. So what time's pregame? 7 tomorrow, guess? So we'll be on 6 to 7. Maybe we got a montage from last year or something like that. All Celtics, see if there's any Patriots fallout or anything like that. So we're going to have ourselves a show tomorrow night, at least.
Yes, and we will also have some Jaylen Brown, Stephen A. Smith audio. So all I've seen so far is a 2-minute clip from Stephen A., but I believe the full interview is out if you go searching. So Jaylen Brown and Stephen A. sat down together today. I saw a picture of one Stephen A. wearing a State Your Source shirt next to Jaylen Brown. So I'm sure there's got to be some good stuff in there. I did see one small clip where Jaylen Brown basically said he's ready for everything. He's in his attack era now. He wants... Before, he kind of was dismissive of the media, didn't want to deal with them. Now, he said he's ready for everything. Say whatever you want about him. He can handle it. He's ready. So
there was a shift movement.
Oh, yes.
Or an energy shift. Now there's an attack shift.
I'm all for it.
What do you think Stephen A. sniffs?
Always.
Brian's a sniffer, and he's in the truck. Hey, Brian.
Guys, I was at a Italian restaurant over the weekend, small little one, just setting the scene. I walked in, you could smell the garlic, like the roasted garlic in the air. To me, it's so awesome.
It's like Snoopy, the dog, just smelling something and floating through the air.
That's me. Yeah, absolutely.
What other smells are there? Like, when I smell sauce, I instantly think of cigarettes and sauce.
Cigarettes?
Yeah, when I grew up, Italians always, I felt like they smoked cigarettes and made sauce, so I just...
Made meatballs and sauce? Yeah, I can see that. I don't know. I don't know if you've been to Sweet Basil's and eat them. When you walk in there, it's overwhelmingly awesome.
Huh? I got to check that out. Is it on Highland?
No, it's right off of Highland. It's kind of near down where the hospital is, close to that. But it's BYOB, so you can have a night in there, and it's kind of cheap, which is great. Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks for the recommendation. Appreciate you.
Yeah, no problem.
Thank you. He's a smeller and a sniffer. Brian, also a sniffer in Braintree. Hello, Brian.
Big Joe, me and you have a connection. After the Miami Heat beat us a few years ago, you were wicked bummed out, and I said, good things are going to happen for you, and you got your job 2 days later, your permanent position.
It was all you, Brian. You're the Jimbo's guy, right? I talked to.
That's right.
I remember you.
Right. All right. Now look I have a unique perspective on what you're talking about. I about 15 years ago lost my sense of smell, and it wasn't due to a stroke, which I had 10 years later, mini stroke. It just disappeared. I went to Mass Eye and Ear. I had scratch and sniff tests, everything. I've never got it back. If you have any other listeners that have this thing, I would love to hear someone call in.
So you don't smell anything, like you won't smell
nothing,
barbecue?
Nothing.
Not even the grill, dude.
Nothing. And I love that. I put my barbecue sauce on my ribs,
you don't even smell McDonald's?
Great taste.
You smell McDonald's? You don't smell yourself?
No. So I clean, prophylactically.
Yeah. What I mean though is you've gone to doctors and they don't know why.
Nobody knows nothing. Nobody. I've tried everything, and
does it bother you?
No, really. And there's more bad smells out there. I think they're good. But I still have great sense of taste, so I can still taste food great. So. I thought it's an interesting, different perspective. Very rare from what I can discern.
So I shouldn't have called you a sniffer.
Scratch and sniffer, no.
Have you ever tried to sniff and you just get nothing?
Oh, yeah, I tried everything. Come on, man. Jeez, I just turned 70, and I used to work at PCN back in the 90s. I tried a I used to work with Mark Parento. Okay, I know a little bit about everything.
Yeah,
I know. I'm not supposed to bring his name up, but there you go.
Whatever, you just did. The whole morning show's from BCN, anyways.
I know.
You
And you got the other guys over at the other station there, which we're not supposed to mention, but
who?
Carter Allen over at CLX.
Okay. But you know the guys in the morning all work together now, right? Like you got Hardy, you got Fred, now you got Adam 12 in there.
Yeah, I remember Adam 12. I met him. I used to work over the 1265 BCN studio all through the 90s.
A lot of smells out there at Fenway.
I'm an engineer. Yeah, I know Dennis Knutson.
Oh,
he knows me. He knows me because I used to work on the phone once every Tuesday because I had my own schedule I could make. I hate working on Tuesday. I used to go in, work the phones, do promotion with Chachi, whatever. And now I just lost my memory because, like I said, I had a mini stroke and it just went bye-bye. But, I know BCN very well, and I know all the people. Oh, yeah, Jim Reiki is the guy that, with Dennis Knutson, designed and developed the radio broadcast for the Patriots network.
Yep.
They're the guys that did it, and while they were doing that, I was fixing junk because I'm an electronic guy.
And now they get to go to London, and we don't. Well, I feel bad that he can't sniff the lovely things that like that shoe sniffer. Anyways, that's how this all happened tonight. There was a shoe sniffer that got put on probation. All right, Skaz. Well, Jeff checking in. World-class musings tonight. You two are a special talent. You can hear the joy in every call.
Would you like to hear a quick 30 seconds of Jaylen Brown with Stephen A?
You know what? Let's do it.
That's my thoughts. People may disagree. That's fine. Mm-hmm. But this next phase that I feel like I'm entering and I'm going into, I don't do podcasts.
Right.
I don't speak because we live in a generation where they're going to pick apart everything you say and it just introduces you to being attacked. Well, I'm at the point where, attack me. It's I stand on what I stand for. I'm going to be me, and I'm going to stand for my community in this life and the next. That's my thoughts.
Jaylen Brown, everybody. Tomorrow night, we are raising a banner. We're having a banner. So we're having a baby. We're raising a banner tomorrow night, and we're going to do it all here on 98.5 The Sports Hub starting at 6 o'clock. For Skaz, Joe the intern, I'm Joe Murray. Talk to you tomorrow night as we raise a banner.